just to cut me down. Say my name just to spit it out. Does it feel better now? So tell me, where did we go wrong along the way? What happened to the purpose? 'Cause it feels worthless now. There's nothing left to say. 'Cause every time I tell myself that screaming from your soul. We'll watch it fall. Now you come to walk on. Come on, set your light through. Just set your light through before we're only whispers in the wind. You can turn my world upside down, a rush like I've not felt before. I can trust myself. I need you to make it turn. I know, will you follow me when the sky starts to change? Yeah, we won't be afraid. We'll never be the same again. Will you follow me? We won't leave it to chance. We can't wait on romance. We'll never be the same again. I could keep the light from turning into darkness. You'd be my escape. What have we been told? Easy to unfold. Future might seem every but we're getting close. Will you follow me when the sky starts to change? Yeah, we won't be afraid. We'll never be the same again. Will you follow me? We won't leave it to chance. We can't wait on romance. We'll never be the same again. Will you follow me when the sky starts to change? Yeah, we won't be afraid. We'll never be the same again. Will you follow me when the sky starts to change? Yeah, we won't be afraid.
Hello, all you weebs, and welcome to Grappling with the Week, the show that brings you the hottest wrestling news and highlights from the steamy kitchens of NXT to the gritty, fast-paced action of AEW. We talk about it all and give you a big discussion piece to truly satisfy, satiate, just craving that hunger of wrestling content on the good old YouTubes. Brought to you, of course, by AniMa W3 Studio and hosted by your Weebs of the Ring. Done with the intro. Let's hit it. Let's kick it, everybody. It is a Thursday night. We've got SmackDown coming on tomorrow night. We had Raw this past Monday. We had a hot NXT, and we had an episode of Dynamite. We had an episode of Diamond, and of course, some wonderful, awesome news. And and Evolve and Revolution. Oh yeah, Revolution did happen, and it was awesome, except for the ending. But
oh yeah,
but,
we can talk about that later. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think we're gonna really touch on Revolution. If we touched on Revolution, we'd be here all night.
Yeah.
But look, it was a good show, everybody. Go and watch it. Highly recommend. But as always, a little quick introduction. If you're new here, I, of course, am your World Heavyweight Champion, Hawkins, giving you the lowdown of not the SmackDown, but the Raws on the Netflix, the NXTs, the AEW corner that we'll touch on very briefly. And, of course, there are two lovely gentlemen here with me. Now, first on my right shoulder is the legend, the visionary, the man himself, finally back from selling out his soul to The Rock. We've got Vash here. Vash, how you doing tonight?
Yeah, guys. Sadly, The Rock only asks for my soul like on a bi-weekly type of segment. He said, "Hey, you can sell your soul this week, and the next week is bye. You go back to work." So things gotta be that way. It's what it is. I didn't sell my soul completely. I'm a part timer, like John Cena is. He comes here whenever he wants, but he gets the business done, and that's how he do it. He lay on the SmackDown, and that's what we're gonna get to it for this Monday Night Raw. We're gonna not Monday night. It's gonna be like Monday afternoon Raw, I think. Not like you can't call it Monday Night Raw no more. You can't call it like Monday afternoon, I guess, at 3 p.m. EST. So I'm gonna be live most likely by myself, depending if other friends or peers with me. But we're gonna have a good time.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, I am so happy Raw and SmackDown are gonna be early this week. But of course, next to him is the genius of the mat himself. Drop this box. Drop, how you doing tonight?
Doing pretty good. It's good to see Vash back on the show.
Yeah, again, selling his soul all for $7.33.
Yeah.
Oh man. But so we're gonna get started with some hot wrestling news tonight. Hey. Thank you. Oh, all right, you too. All right, make sure to take your vitamins, kids. Okay. Our first little thing, of course, we got our greater wrestling media coming on. This is a segment that is used to highlight any indie promotions we might go to or news that we want to discuss, interesting documentaries or interviews from the week, and anything else in the grand scale of professional wrestling in the world. Now, our first little segment here, we have this little news story that came out from Seth Rollins being on WFAN, talking to some people there, and apparently he's set to retire at 45 years of age. So, Vash, why don't you lead us in this? What is this article, or I guess this tweet that this came from? What did it have to say here? What did Seth have to say here?
Well, look, just my first comment alone, from being at the age of 45-year-old in this line of business, he's been doing this since I think the early 2010s or I think the late 2000s. He started this out. He's been working the indie promotion, then working the NXT, or before, like one of the first generations of NXT when it first started back in the mid 2015. So to be part of the company for almost good 10 plus years and been wrestling for a good 15 plus years, he also wants to be a dad. He wants to be a part of that. And part of the quote, said by Cutaholics, is a 45 maybe really sounds all right to me. I think it's kind of going to depend on what I do next in the few years, as far as outside of WWE or behind the scenes in WWE. Both of those things are appealing to me. So just to figure out what it feels like, but like my body is definitely, I feel good right now. I feel very good. But his quote, I'm happy with this because it doesn't sound like he's already reaching for retirement or telling himself, he's like, hey, 45 sounds realistically. At the moment, depending what I do the next 2-3 years with the spots we do, more in the Hell in a Cell cages, steel cages, more Last Man Standing, more TLC matches. All those things will be added to the body. A body could heal no matter how much massage therapists and stem cells you could do, but there's a limit to all that. Your body and your mental will take enough. So when it comes to Seth Rollins retiring, at the end of the day, he said, hey, he might do things outside. He was trying to play a role in Captain America New World Order, but look how that turned out. So he wants to do and pursue more. Also, his wife is doing more acting. He probably wants to write a book. He probably has a lot of projects that have not been said publicly. And also another thing he said that he probably wants to do something behind the scenes. It'll be probably be a director, probably be a booker, probably be a manager or something, a producer, something between those lines. So I feel like when it comes to that, as a entertainer, content creator, as anybody that is, or in your line of work, any job, you grow as an individual. You see where you have your potential in, and you become better at what you do. So for me, from this call and for him being 45, I appreciate the work he has done. And a lot of people that have not been a fan of him will feel his loss of void once he retires in the in-ring aspect.
Oh yeah. So yeah, and plus like him saying 45, I mean, I feel like that's a good age, especially in the world of professional wrestling. That's a good age to kind of start slowing down at least. I mean, AJ Styles right now, he's a little over that. John Cena, I mean, he's almost 50.
Yeah.
But you don't want to end up becoming like The Undertaker, for example, who was, 50 something before he finally had his last match and decided to hang it up and all that.
Yeah.
So, nothing wrong with that. It's just like, there does come a time where you kind of just need to stop.
Yeah.
You don't want to
There has to be a balance.
legacy. Yeah. So, but Drop, what do you think about this statement that Seth said on this? I think it was a radio show that this WFAN was.
Yeah, I remember seeing this earlier in the week whenever I come across stuff when I'm searching through X. I might have actually seen the clip if I'm not mistaken. But I feel like it's a good age because normally a lot of people say once you hit like your mid 40s when it comes to the men's side of things, that's usually when they start settling down. I mean, we even talked about it on last week's show when it came to AJ Styles that he plans on retiring once he hits 50 years old. So it's kind of around like 45 to 50 age range where they just want to settle things. They just want to settle down. They want to, move on and focus on other things because, that's a lot of years that a lot of these people put into wrestling. Sometimes it's like 20 to 30 years. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe he's like 38 or 39 years old now. So we have quite a bit of time to do stuff with Seth Rollins before he decides to hang up his boots. So I completely understand it. I respect his decision and everything. It definitely gives him more time to spend with Becky and their daughter, because I would assume around that time Becky would probably end up being retired as well. So it's like, you gotta appreciate what you have when it's there.
And Drop, you were exactly right on the money. He is 38 years old. He's about to be 39 in May.
So yeah, he's actually, I think he's around the same age as Cody. I think Cody's 38 too. So
I got you right now.
Yeah, Cody's I believe is 38.
Yeah, he's
39. He's 39. About to be 40 in June.
I was about to be 40 in June. Oh wow.
Dang, he's been around since there have been almost WrestleManias. just shy of that age. Just shy of that age.
Yeah, you're right. Shy of by a year. Goddamn. Yeah, shy of by a year. Wow.
Yeah. Oh man, but we're gonna move on now to our next little news topic, because we got some news to talk about tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So this was just kind of funny. So Big Boom AJ, and if you don't know who Big Boom AJ is, well, get on TikTok, you'll find out who the Costco guys are. But Big Boom AJ, Big Justice, and the Rizzler, the fat kid who does this and all that, they are under contract to AEW. Now, this came out during the media scrum for AEW Revolution, because Big Boom AJ ended up having another pre-show match in like a 6-man tag kind of thing. And during that post-show, media scrum, he had said, "How much deeper does everybody want me to get? I thought I was deep. Yes, I am officially with AEW right now. I'm undefeated. I am under contract right now, as is Big Justice and the Rizzler. We are going to be here for a while. I know there are some names on the AEW roster that I might be gunning for. Some guys out there who don't quite believe in what I believe in. The happiness, the positivity, the boom. You never know how deep this thing is going to go." Drop, I'm going to start with you. How do you feel about this? And do you feel the boom?
This is to be. I mean, if they got Logan Paul over in WWE, they got the Costco guys over in AEW. So I feel like whatever works for them is good. I mean, I've seen a lot of the stuff that they do on TikTok and everything. I mean, that's how I found out about them originally. Was all those videos that they usually put out, trying different foods or doing their dances, different songs, stuff like that. But yeah, I'm not surprised with this, and they have been getting, some screen time when it comes to those two shows. Honestly, I mean, just looking at how the way Tony treats them, like Tony even brings them on his jet to get to places too. Because I remember seeing a photo like that online during the Full Gear when they were heading over there. He didn't just have Big AJ. I believe he also had like the whole family on there going towards whatever event that was happening around that time. And yeah, I mean, good for them, really. Do they necessarily need it? No, because I do know that you get paid pretty well on TikTok when it comes to people that make careers on that. I'm pretty sure they make a fuckload of money off of there. But I mean, hey, extra money in their pocket. Pretty sure Tony paid them really well to be on there. So, this is good for them.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I saw what Alexa Bliss said in the chat. I would not be surprised in the slightest if MJF comes across these guys. It's only a matter of time. And these are the kind of guys that really get under his skin. So, never say never to that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. But what about you, Vash? Are you feeling the boom with Big AJ?
Most of my comments are gonna be negative. I'm gonna keep it simple. I do not fucking care. I'm gonna just be simple as that.
Oh, you're not feeling the boom? Come on.
Hurts. Even hurts hearing that phrase more from you. The third time doesn't help. But I don't want to hear it for. I know you're having fun with this, but it doesn't even fun. Look. When Drop said Logan Paul, I don't like this dude. I don't give a fuck about Logan. Even going there and seeing him, my girl saying, "Fuck you, Logan. My girl's having fun." But guess what? I could talk positivity about this man's in-ring performance.
Yeah.
When it comes to the boom of the Rizzler, I don't give a fuck. They're not doing shit. They're entertaining. Yes, but they're not giving wrestling aspect. When you heard back at AJ's podcast with Chris Van Light, they say that about wrestling are moments, and within those moments is what you remember about the match or about whatever angle that happened within that match. But when it comes to the Resident Boom, Tony's just trying to get viewers and people from TikTok or people just to get views for it. And me, I don't give a fuck. I'm not the target audience. That's straight up simple. I do not give a fuck.
Yeah,
that's it.
But his finisher's the power boom.
Yeah.
He has the Rizzler who does the Riz face.
I'd rather see Batista give the powerbomb on both of them and call it a day.
You mean the power boom?
Yeah, it sounds like some
No,
Pokemon
the power
move.
bomb.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, it's cool. I'm kind of on Drop side with this. It's like, happy for them. They're getting a good opportunity and having fun with it. That's cool, great. But it's really not for me.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's good. It's good to see though that the Rizzler's in good health, because he did hurt his hand ringing that bell from Full Gear. So good thing he recovered from that. But Hey, you know what's really good? It's really good to recover, especially when you're a country, especially when WWE tried to pander to you about
Indiana.
8 years ago with an Indian main event star that went nowhere. No, it's a good thing that WWE decided to
Jobbing
be with
match.
Netflix, because now they can be part of your Netflix in India. That's right. Triple H was on Netflix's YouTube channel, and he had some great news for everybody out there in India. And I quote in my best Triple H voice. Namaste, India. This is the King of Kings, the game. Triple H, are you ready? Starting on April 1st, WWE has a brand new home in India. This means Raw, SmackDown, NXT, even Premium Live event, from the Royal Rumble to SummerSlam, and all of it leads to the grandest stage of them all, WrestleMania. So, India, I'll ask you one more time. Are you ready? Because this is the beginning of the Netflix era. Cool.
Exactly. Thank you for saying it. I will use that reference. Boom! It happened. Great for them.
Hey, there you go. Now you're feeling the boom.
Yep.
Come on, Vash. Feel the boom.
I mean, the good
But
thing
hey,
about this,
man.
the good thing about this is they have a big audience over there, so this only benefits them in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what?
Yeah.
I'm excited for is this. The next topic. Stephanie McMahon has the ESPN series Stephanie's Places, which the title sucks. I'm gonna just say and be honest. I'm sorry, but Stephanie Places. Come on, like y'all didn't have any more ideas in the boardroom. Nobody came up with an idea for Stephanie, like Stephanie behind the curtain, or Stephanie across the journey, or some shit, or Stephanie behind the ring, or Stephanie behind the years, or some shit.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm kind of
Stephanie's spots. It was literally
Yeah, a lot of
right
the stuff-
there for you guys.
A lot of stuff Vash is saying it's like little sexual innuendos. I don't know if you should really do that.
No,
Look.
I wasn't even like
No,
going
I
that way.
know.
I was just going ranting in my head.
I
But
think
yeah, that too works.
Yeah, but I think a lot of stuff you did say was that because
Oh,
I know they
it's-
have Dark Side of the Ring, all that stuff. So,
But the Stephanie Places for me don't hit. But I like her guest list
Mhm.
order, guys. This is one thing that's pretty cool to
that
me.
is pretty good.
And it is March 26th.
Yeah.
And so on. We have CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, Rhea Ripley, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Charlotte Flair, Roman Reigns, Pat McAfee, The Undertaker, and her husband, Paul Levesque, Triple H, and the heel right now,
Yeah.
John Cena, May 28th will be ending. It seems like these dates are like what, every Friday or something? Let's see, March 26th.
I
Oh.
believe so.
Oh, no, my apologies. Every Wednesday. It starts every Wednesday.
Okay,
Oh,
there you
okay.
go.
So during AEW, gotcha.
Yeah.
I would laugh if it gets released at 8 p.m. during AEW. That would be on
man.
purpose. Now, but you know what's great about this? That comes on Wednesday? Because that means we could tell chat if one of us hopefully have heard the podcast, and then we could give thoughts about it during Grappling a week. Because by the Wednesday, we probably will have at least a good 24 to 48 hours to listen to it, and we could give some thoughts about the podcast.
I mean, more than likely, it would be included in this segment that we're talking right now. So,
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
whenever we have our little news we talk about, we could just talk about whatever happened there.
Out of these, I don't know what's the format yet, or what's the show type of direction was going for. Is it going to be wrestling exclusive, or is it going to be about life, or a mix of both? But just some guests. I don't know about you guys, but the three guests I'm excited about this rundown is her husband Triple H, Roman Reigns, and I'm curious to see with Charlotte Flair. Those three people, I'm curious to see how she's gonna induct an interview. Because with Triple H, because of her husband, so I'm really curious to see what they're gonna reveal behind the curtain, because they don't really have their life very public. So I'm really curious to see what they're gonna be discussing about their marriage, anything that has not yet been spoken about, or anything new. With Roman Reigns, because how's Stephanie gonna approach the guy that has changed her industry of her company, of her father's company, for the past 5 years? So I'm really curious to see what's that kind of introspect gonna be. And with Charlotte Flair, because Charlotte Flair is like an interesting interviewer to really talk about what she has done and her father has done. So I know that's gonna be connected to with Stephanie. So those are my interests. How about you guys, Drop?
I would probably have to say CM Punk would probably be on top of that list, only because you got to look
Yeah.
at where things were before and then looking at where things are now since he returned. So there's definitely a lot of substance to that interview when it comes to that. You could probably put him and Cody in the same category. You could probably get some good stuff out of that. You were talking about how Roman Reigns helped out the business. I mean, Cody Rhodes is another one you can throw in there now, just looking at what he's been doing
Yeah.
recently since he came back. And the other one I would probably have to say is this new version of Cena, because we don't know if this is going to be John Cena as it is on interviews, or he's actually going to be playing the character, because as of late, he's been leaning into more kayfabe with his character when it comes to the way that he's approaching things online. I even seen like certain TikToks that he's doing. Like just the whole thing that I like about Cena is like, even though we know how things are, he still sticks to it because he wants it to feel real all the way through. So I'm very curious to see how that's going to approach Triple H. I mean, yeah, you can throw that in there as well to see how things would go between the both of them. But I would probably have to choose those three mainly because of where Cody and Punk have been over the years. You never know, Stephanie might bring up, what is your thoughts on how the business is compared to then? Because that was a big point for both of them leaving. And
Yeah,
then
that is
John
true.
Cena, I mean, you got to get as much as out of John Cena as you can, because people are waiting to hear a fucking segment with him on Monday to hear what he's gonna say.
Oh yeah, oh that's gonna be fun. It sucks that Waka's gonna miss that with me. Ah!
I know for a fact
If anything-
he's gonna avoid online because you don't want that. That's like must see television right there.
Yeah. I guess for me with these episodes, Punk is up there. I'm curious with the Rhea episode if Buddy's gonna be in there. Like, because that's just gonna be interesting and be like, wait, Buddy Matthews, what are you doing here? Oh wait, that's right, you're married to everybody's mommy. Anyways,
Wait, so she's going to where they live, or
to my knowledge, she is, because it's like she's seeing where they live, and then just like kind of talking about the wrestling business a little bit. So kind of like.
Yeah.
A little bit of what Vash was saying is just like, it's probably going to be a little bit of both, where like she checks out their crib and then it's like, all right, well, let's talk a little bit about the business. Because like, I think one of the promo like things we saw from it, I think it was like the Roman Reigns episode. It had the whole bloodline there. Like everybody was on a boat and they just like zoomed out and all that.
Oh yeah, that's right. I must have missed a little teaser thing for this. Another one that you could throw in there for like a future episode is Liv Morgan, if she ever goes to see her, because she has her own little farm and stuff. So that'd be pretty interesting to see her go.
Yeah,
there.
I believe she has a house in Texas. I believe.
know.
Yeah, there's a house in Texas. Yeah.
Yeah, somewhere. She had said good morning to her cow the other day. I was like, look at you go.
I was just wondering that if she has a weed farm or a weed tree. I was just wondering that now. Oh my god, if Stephanie talks about that during the show. But I don't know. It's just very interesting. Like the first episode, like Drop said,
she's very
with
laid
CM
back.
Punk. With CM Punk would be pretty interesting, because that's when we will know as the audience, as the consumers, how will the format be? Like once it's laid out in front of us. So I'm really curious to see how would that go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, speaking of things going, let's talk about this one. Okay, this one I have a few words with, because WWE decided to let go of a few things, mainly these like gimmick names that they have for people. So like Big Bronson Reed, that's gone. It's just Bronson Reed. Okay. Dirty ass Dominic Mysterio, that's gone now. It's just Dominic Mysterio. Seth freaking Rollins, gone now. Now, we haven't heard anything like on TV yet. Like they still refer to Seth as Seth freaking Rollins on Monday.
Except when he actually won the match. I look back, the announcer Mike Rome, or I think it was Alicia Taylor, they announced Seth Rollins, not Seth freaking Rollins, as the winner.
Well, that was after the match. I didn't pay attention to that because frickin' Roman was in there.
That's
You were
true.
paying attention to
Yeah.
the announcer when Roman. Oh my gosh, I'm
I
telling
was
her
doing my
present chief.
job. I was doing my
Uh-huh.
job as a
Uh-huh.
critic and pay attention.
But
But
good.
look,
they've
I'm
mainly
mixing this.
put this on. They mainly like did this online, like on the online listings with it. But yeah, I'm kind of the same with you, Vash. I'm mixed on it because it's like, on one hand, I get it because of names like Big Bronson Reed,
Yeah, I don't like that.
but
look,
Seth freaking Rollins is marketable as hell.
exactly, and it's great for marketing. For Dom, I'm fine with because as much as it's a joke, I don't want to
Dirty as
call.
Dom.
I don't want to call him Dirty Dominic Mysterio. Like, I'm sorry, but I can't do that for a long time. Like, I'm glad they took that off. Big Bronson Reed, I like it because it makes him sound more menacing. It makes it sound like the bad guy, like Big Bronson Reed's about a tsunami. Like the character, his voice, his Australian accent, like it makes him like a huge dude. It makes him feel menacing. Like, all right, cool, he's a badass. And for Seth Rollins, like it says, marketing. So when we have Raw on Netflix or WWE trying to take out the names, hopefully it's just for like online personality and not like the marketing or merch. Hopefully that's still being promoted.
Yeah.
But at the moment I'm mixed. It depends what is the after effects. That's when I have my best answers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean that's just the thing. It's just like a lot of these were kind of marketable. Like
Yeah.
Seth freaking Rollins is just so marketable. Big Bronson, it flows off the tongue so well, and I mean, I know it's very simple. I know it's very basic, but like that's just the thing. It's just like that's kind of his thing. He's big. His name is Bronson Reed. There you go. Dom Mysterio. I mean, have you seen his little crusty mustache that's on his face?
Yeah.
Like it looks like a dirt pile.
Yeah, so just to give my thoughts on this before I really head on, I don't really this doesn't really bother me, to be perfectly honest, because I'm here for the characters really. So whenever they come out by their nicknames, that's how I really look at it as. It doesn't really bother me.
That's part of the character, like the Big Bronson Reed, like that's part of the character, and like that's who.
I mean, it's still gonna be the part of the character if they don't say it out there, and they could easily put it on merch. Like that's one thing I could still see is probably still merch, but they're still gonna be the same people regardless. But you could easily use it to put on T-shirts. There's no issues with that because they do little slogans and stuff like that all the time. So
agreed.
That's what I would at least do.
My thing is with it though, you guys are getting rid of it on the website. Fine, whatever.
Yeah.
Get rid of it in the theme songs, and get rid of Def Rebel, and get a new freaking music producer for it, and then we'll be good.
I will say this. I haven't talked about Evolve on here, but since you brought that up when it comes to music, I do like how they're handling music in Evolve because they're not Death Rebel songs that they're putting on there. A lot of the talent that came over that are ID talent that I've noticed are using whatever theme songs they had on the independent scene, which I guess makes sense because they're not officially signed. But at least it goes to show that there's some sort of change there, where like there's a little bit more freedom. Because one of the girls that came out there, she had like this rap song, and it didn't sound like a Def Rebel song. It sounded like something. What's that? That song from Deadpool, like the first movie where it opens up.
Oh, the
DMX.
DMC.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like. It had that sort of vibe. So it's like, okay, this is different. It's actually bringing me back all those years ago. So it's like I like it, and it definitely captures the whole feel with the characters a lot more. But yeah, just to give a little shout on there. Hopefully that's a little tease for us because, like Watkins says, you're changing names and shit. I mean, if anything, you should pay attention to that music. Shout out
to you. I don't mind if we get to a little side tangent, but I know you, out of all three of us, you've been watching Evolve, one of their new projects that
I do want to give a little shout out to them.
And also, what's the other project that you've been watching? Not Evolve. What's the other one?
LFG.
Yeah, LFG. Want to give any quick thoughts about them since we haven't had the chance to speak about them during Grappling, and since they are part of the pro wrestling, conversation does weekly.
Oh yeah, definitely. So like when it comes to Evolve, pretty much just to sum it up real quick, there's only 2 episodes so far. You can find it on Tubi. It's for free. It's only 45 minutes long, so it just releases as it is, and you could easily skip through the little commercials that they have. It's not like a live feed where you watch it all the way through. You can manage it the way you want, but it features the ID talent that they have on there. They have at least maybe two to four matches on there, and it just showcases, okay, these are the people we're taking from the independent scenes. You guys can get familiar with them and everything. I know Kylie Ray was on there the other day. I'm a big fan of her. Zeta Steel, you guys already, I talk about her nonstop with them, and also I talk about her on social media too. She was there on the most recent episode saying, hey, what if I better be on tonight, I better have my moment, everything like that. She's basically going to be that heel a lot of people are going to love because she's very charismatic, and obviously being in that program is going to help them get used to the whole system there, so they'll only improve as time goes on in the ring outside of what they already know. But Evolve is very good. I highly recommend it for both of you guys. If you ever want a chance to check it out, free, no subscription. You could easily skim through it if you want. So there's that.
I did see that one clip of what's her name? I just had her name into my tongue. Shu. I think her name is like Namir. Yes. She was so good in that one clip I saw online this morning, or I believe was it. She speared a girl that was doing like a handstand from the back, and that looked deadly. I'm like, oh shit. Yeah, like that
too. Yep.
That sequence was fucking menacing. I didn't expect that from Shu. She did fantastic, much better than expected. I wish I could see the side of her on NXT whenever she goes back to the weekly programming. Yeah, because that was a nice, beautiful, nice sequence.
Yeah, the one thing I have noticed when it comes to the talent being on Evolved is some of the NXT talent that's not usually utilized as much is on Evolved. Like Danny Palmer's another one that was on there in the first episode. And one thing I've noticed is they seem to have like a lot more freedom showcasing what they're all about on here outside of like an NXT and everything else. So that's one thing I have noticed. You place them somewhere else or like performing on like a whole different planet. You're like, wait, this guy could do this the whole entire time? What the hell is going on here? And then LFG is pretty much like this era's version of Tough Enough, and I've been enjoying it a lot. I've been enjoying a lot of the talent there, seeing how they grow, seeing how they learn. I'm very high on Danny Ray. I feel like she has a lot of potential. She went up to Taker, asked him to use Hell's Gate because one of the things that Michelle McCool, which she's also on there before, was teaching her. She's like, okay, you're going to get in the ring sometimes. You're going to be able to execute your normal finisher, which is something I typically do in 2K. Like, I look at it from a realistic perspective where I'm like, okay, I might not be like a big guy, but I can execute my main finisher. If it's like, I told Watkins the other day, like a Death Valley driver, if I have the strength to execute that, I can. But one of the things that she did say is, Michelle did tell her that you're going to be in the ring with people that are bigger than you, so you're going to have to figure out how to strategize around that. So she went to Taker, asked if she could use the Hell's Gate. She gave him permission. She was up against somebody that was bigger than her with one of their performance matches, and she was able to execute that move properly, and she was able to win, which I think is a very smart concept to have, because you always got to have a backup plan. You can't always just rely on that one move. So that's something that she's probably going to take in. And then the most recent episode, they were doing factions. That was pretty cool, because obviously that's something that a lot of them are going to be diving into in the near future. So that's something really nice. And next episode, I know Punk's going to be on there, and he's going to be involved in a promo.
That's going to be the promo episode then.
Yep, the promo episode, yep.
I will definitely try to be watching that with you if for the promo episode. I would love to see that with CM Punk.
Oh yeah.
The one clip I've seen about LFG that really got me, not saying hooked, but got me like, oh, I want to check the rest of this clip out. The one of Roxanne Perez, her boyfriend, and Maxine Dupree on boyfriend was doing their promo. And the thing I'm laughing about was when Maxine Dupree boyfriend said that, yeah, my girl's on the main roster, but I'm like, yeah, but she's not doing what Roxanne is doing on either the roster of NXT or the main roster of Raw and SmackDown, which is doing. Even though I don't know when LFG got recorded, so if they recorded like 3 months ago, 5 months ago, then cool. But I'm like, if this got recorded like 2 months ago or a month ago or like 6 weeks ago, and I'm like, Roxanne is doing way more than Maxine, which, by the way, this is no shade towards Roxanne or Maxine, but just the promo was pretty funny to watch, knowing that their diss was about each other's girlfriend, saying that they got here because of their plug. But the most funny is that people get to where they need to because of connections, it's always been who you know and how you got there. That's always been in the way of living, the way of life, the way of our work. But just because of promo work, talking about Maxine Dupree being on the main roster, and that's a higher level than where Roxanne is doing, that to me was the most funniest part of the promo, which I feel like it could have been better. But they're still learning, and it was funny how they said, like, I knew my girl was going to be brought up. I'm like, I'm glad they knew, but they could have done better in that part. I don't know if y'all felt the same or has also seen the same clip I've seen.
The only thing I really want to see out of that is I want them to stand out outside of their partner. Like I don't want them. I don't want them just getting into the business and getting to a high level just because they're associating with someone that already has a name that already stands out. And we already know Roxanne's going to do great things in the future, but I also want her boyfriend to do something on his own accord outside of her. Like they could still do things together. It's perfectly fine. I'm not taking that away from them. But let's say if I was a wrestler, my girlfriend was in the company, she had like 2 to 3 title reigns under her belt. She was very well known. She was very over with the crowd and everything. And I was getting into the performance center and all that. I would want to separate myself because I would want to have a dream to venture out and do those things instead of leaning on to someone else. That's my only thing with that.
Yeah, that's the only thing. Just kind of, start doing your own thing and all that stuff. But yeah, let's continue this kind of like evolve WWID talk, because one thing that kind of came out, and this is just more of like seeing evidence of this. So WWE ID talent, they're going to be allowed to work other promotions during Mania Week. Now, they had mentioned this, I think, like a week or two ago, but they actually kind of doubled down on social media with this, with a response from somebody on Twitter, or they were just quote retweeting themselves saying, "Hey, independent wrestling promoters, the fans have spoken. They want WWE ID prospects on your indie shows. Look at the likes." And so, yeah, now I get it with some indie promotions, especially when you kind of look back on the history with certain projects that WWE have done in the past, such as WWE NXT UK, where they basically kind of destroyed the UK indie scene because of that little thing where they were just signing all of the UK indie talents to the point where what's up?
Isn't that where Gunther came from? Or Walter?
I believe so, yeah. Yeah, he was part of that group, but like, yeah, they basically like they had what's the phrase I'm looking for? They had drained the proverbial like water pumps dry when it comes to at least back then when it came to the UK indie scene. Like there was almost nothing left of the UK indie scene after NXT UK got around there, but because of COVID, that ended up ending. Because they couldn't do anything with it. But yeah, so like you could kind of expect, a lot of indie promotions to be like, you're doing this WWE ID system program thing, and you say it's going to be this one thing, but we don't really trust you fully on that because of your past and all that. So it's at least nice to see that they're acknowledging, hey, you guys can still hire them. You guys can still book them for your shows. It's fine right now. It's just literally when they're ready to sign with a company, we at least get the first crack at them, So, again, I don't blame them for feeling this way, but, it's sometimes you just gotta let the actions speak louder than the words, though. So, we'll have to see and make sure that WWE are ones behind their own words. Do y'all have anything to say about this, really?
The only thing I will say is a positive out of this. Like, this is great news for them. The only thing is that depending on what the indie promotions get out of it, as long as they don't get bullied by WWE or regulations, if there's a champion that won it, or like, for example, Indie to went back to Australia and she won her champion in her city or her country. I forgot which one it was, but either or, it's just knowing that as long as that they don't bully the smaller promotions and it works out for both parties. As long as that, like, for example, remember last year we said depending on the deal that TNA and NXT have, what could work out. That now, a year later, it seems like it's doing good benefit for them. It's working out much better in the long run. So, like I said, depending on what works out for them, and as long as they don't get bullied by the WWE.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would probably have to say the same thing, like as long as things work out for them in the long run, because I get they want to get their name out and everything, because that's the whole point about the whole ID program. They really want to venture out, get their signees out there to do things, because like I mentioned before, they're not officially signed yet, so they're able to do what they want.
Yeah.
Which is why I referenced them coming out to whatever music they had onto the indie scenes. They know that, like Zeta, I know, owns her song, so she can come out with that song whenever she wants, because that's just a part of her character. So having these guys go out there, get their names out there, just to basically just add a lot more stock under you, which they're young talents, so they want to do everything they possibly can when it comes to money or anything, just to really get them out there, because they're not at that level like a Seth Rollins, AJ Styles, Bailey, Becky, all of them yet.
At least not yet.
They have a long future, which is also kind of a cool thing, because you're looking at where they are now, and then maybe 2 or 3 years from now, we can come back on here and be like, I remember this person back here doing all this, and now they're main eventing WrestleMania. So it's like, as long as they handle it properly, as long as things aren't going back and forth, I have nothing against them doing something like this. I'll give it to them properly.
Me either. Yeah. So, but yeah, one thing I am very, very happy to announce too, typhoon and earthquake, also known as the natural disasters for some of you older folks out there, they will be going into the 2025 Hall of Fame. This was announced on Sportskeeda Wrestle Binge from Typhoon himself. Announcing that, that rumor you guys heard is true. So they're going to be the tag team going in to the Hall of Fame this year. How are we feeling about this? I again, this is one of those talents I or at least gimmicks or groups that I kind of thought, weren't you already in there? Weren't you already in the Hall of Fame? No? All right, well, let's get you guys in there. That'll be great. How are you guys feeling about this?
I'm gonna just say it can be simple. I don't have much thoughts. I don't know too much about them or their repertoire. I don't know the resume. I've heard of them, but don't know too much. Congratulations on them, and it's better to get the people that are long overdue, to get them check off the list and call it a day, and move on to the people that now starts to be questionable. Now you gotta build up to other people in the future.
Yeah, I probably have to say the same thing. Like, I know for sure this wasn't around my time, because I'm a late 90s kid. So I didn't really start seeing everything when it really started sinking in, when I started watching wrestling around WrestleMania 23, which was the same match that you had Vince McMahon and Donald Trump in, when they had that whole hair thing. That was like when I really started watching everything, and I knew about things outside of seeing little snippets when I was a kid, because I didn't know what the hell was going on. But it's like, I know of them based on what we learned about when we talked about them last week, and also just things that I've seen every so often. But congratulations to them. It's good to have our tag team for the year inducted into the Hall of Fame, and I'm hoping, they have a good introduction. It's going to be at 1 a.m. this year.
Yeah. Oh, goody. That's going to be great. I'm so looking forward to that. I'm probably going to be watching that next morning.
Yeah, probably will.
That's going to be a thing. But hey, you know what, Vash? You may not be so familiar with Typhoon and Earthquake, but here's a name that you should start getting used to, and a name that you need to start getting used to. Good old Jeff Cobb, because WWE are interested in Jeff Cobb, and they've had their eyes on him as of late, according to a number of sources through Fightful Select. And one source indicated that Cobb appeared on the company's internal roster this week, but no confirmations as of yet for this. Drop, do you have a little bit more knowledge on him? The only thing I know is apparently he had faced Bronson Reed at one point.
Yeah.
And that's a rematch I kind of want to see, because just looking at this guy, oh yeah, give me again the big meaty boys bumping meat.
Oh yeah, Yeah, Jeff Cobb. Another thing I do know about him is that he did work with Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher. He was a part of a little group that they had, which is why like I put that little GIF in there earlier, so showing the both of them because he did work alongside them. I know he has been in AEW before. He's actually had a match with Kenny Omega too. Kenny Omega actually put him in a one-winged angel and was able to pull it off too. And this guy actually has a really cool finisher. I'll probably try putting it into chat if Vash wants to give a few thoughts on it in just few seconds. But this guy for sure, like you're gonna expect to see him like a lot of big matches against some Bronson Reed, against an Obafemi whenever he gets on the main roster in the near future. You know, people like Gunther, a lot of those big guys that we like to see in the ring together, tearing each other apart. This is going to be another name, not necessarily having to be big guys, but you could see this guy, you know, fitting in the mid card. Potentially could even see him in the main event scene because I don't want to say never for this guy, and I don't want to always say, oh, this guy is just a mid card kind of guy. I don't like saying that because they have a lot of potential in the world to really advance to the next step. Like for all we know, once Bronson Reed comes back, Triple H could easily continue pushing that guy and put him in the main event scene because he definitely looks like a main event talent to me. So I'm really hyped for this. I'm very excited to see where things are gonna go. It's nice that he's in the cards of potential free agents that they're bringing over, and I could see him fitting in pretty well.
Yeah, he looks like a WWE guy.
Oh, yeah.
Again, it's mainly the build and all that. But I mean, Vash, just like quick look at him. I mean, Alpha just first reaction to him. What kind of vibes you feeling from him? What are you getting from him? Do you feel the boom in a way towards Jeff Cobb?
So much. I hate you so much.
Look, between the whole Cargill thing and feeling the boom, I'm really just like, you know, getting at you, huh?
I'm glad you're getting Rizzo out here. You know, you're being the Rizzler for us out here. You know, doing the boom. Oh my god, I hate how I'm doing this. I hate it.
What I did do, just to give you guys a little demonstration of him. Thank you. That second GIF is his finisher, where I think he calls it like Thousand Islands or something. I'm probably
to look at it.
Something along the lines of that. I'll probably look it up and clarify that. And then I put the GIF I was referencing Kenny Omega putting him in the one-winged angel, so he has appeared on WWE television. So this guy is he's gonna be the powerhouse guy. He's gonna be the brawler. He's gonna be the powerhouse guy, you know. Kind of like you have the King K. Rool in Smash, where you see King K. Rool just beating the absolute crap out of people he comes across. When it comes to his body slams, when it comes to his stomps and stuff. I know I'm using a Smash Bros reference, but we have this little thing here. We make anime references or video game references. But if you guys know how K. Rool plays in that game, he likes destroying his opponents, just like DK. DK is just like that too. So it's like he's gonna put on some really good matches, and I love that finisher. That finisher looks freaking awesome.
Oh, dude, yeah. Give me all of that. I need him to hit that on Dirty Ass Dominic.
Oh yeah,
I need him to do that.
He's gonna be eating those one of these days.
But yeah, Vash, what are the vibes you're feeling from this guy? Again, are you feeling the boom?
Drop spoke perfectly for me.
It's called Tour of the Islands. That's his finisher. Tour of the Islands. Really nice finisher name too.
Okay.
Exactly. Drop spoke for me. This was a great episode. So a great guy to be adding to the roster. He said his moveset. Drop said it perfectly for me.
Well, speaking of saying things perfectly, oh boy. So WWE are going to lean into the "go fuck yourself" line that Cody Rhodes used for The Rock at the Elimination Chamber. So this comes from WrestleVote's Backstage Pass. Company has apparently okayed potential merchandise for this. What do you guys think? What merch besides shirts? Because shirts is the obvious thing. Yeah. What merchandise do you guys think you could?
I will get a fucking hat alerted saying "Go fuck yourself" with WWE. Yes, I would. Or beanie. I would get a beanie or a hat.
Definitely need to implement as a sound in our Discord server for sure.
Like,
yes,
we have the "Go fuck yourself" thing on here. That because I know we will easily spam that. But it's like, besides
God.
shirts, which is kind of an easy thing you could really say, I would assume hats. I don't really know. It all depends how they really orchestrate it. Because I know last year Rock kind of did a similar thing with the slap, like because the slap thing was almost like a Batman meme. So I know Rock did that with Cody last year, where he made memes of all the stuff that he was doing with Cody during the WrestleMania build up. So maybe we have like some sort of like comic inspired designs. I like how they've been doing that lately. They did that with Penta recently, but I can't really think of anything outside of like shirts and hats. Like maybe they do like one of those cards they've been putting out where it's like signed or whatever.
Okay.
They could sell it like that. I don't really know
what
else.
I'm gonna throw this out there. Car decal, car sticker. Just like put it on like the back of your car.
Oh yeah.
Like on your bumper sticker and all that.
I mean, it's the fact that we heard that without it being censored, is very telling, because they don't normally do that, and that's not something we say, oh, drop. They just did that for the hell of it. They didn't do it for the hell of it, because they could have easily said something else outside of that. Like, they obviously wanted to add some flavor to this whole entire feud at Rock and everything that's going on with Cena moving forward. So the fact that they drop a line, which you don't normally hear on WWE television that much.
No.
That's very telling, and the fact that they are going to make merchandise for it is also pretty interesting. So I'm very curious to see what that leans into. Like, if we're on here talking about this like a couple weeks later, like mid-March or sometime in April, we end up seeing the WWE shop Twitter account posting pictures of like the new merchandise and stuff, then you'll know.
Oh, imagine if we have a fan art of Cody Rhodes and doing like the go fuck yourself. I know we won't, because of how past Monday
honestly,
they kept censoring the Seth and CM Punk just doing the middle finger, and they kept censoring that. It's just got me pissed off as well.
I saw some people actually were able to see it, because I seen pictures of like people actually posting the images of CM Punk and Seth Rollins, so some people can see it. I'm not sure why, to be perfectly honest. I agree with you, because I feel like that's less I'm not saying it offensive as I'm taking offense to it, but I feel like the finger's less offensive than actually saying the word. Because you could say
maybe it was US servers that got the black censoring when it came to that, and not the international, because me and Walkers were watching it regular.
So actually, so funny thing with that, and I probably should have put this in there too, because this is something I heard this week as well. So take this as you will, but apparently, so like when Raw first started on Netflix, it was a lot of the Netflix people in the trucks running everything, so they kind of let a lot of stuff slide. Now they're starting to have the WWE not producers, or I guess more like the WWE production team running things now, which is why apparently we got the black screens, because now that they're in control with the whole PG, because it's still a PG product. They're kind of back on the helm now to kind of censor things a little bit more.
Not a fan of that, if that's the case.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not either, but that just gets into a whole topic about censorship, which, again, I don't want to be on here until like 2 or 3 in the morning.
Yeah, about saying that could be that could be like another main topic next week, or 2 weeks from now, a month from now, 6 weeks from now, because that is a good topic when it comes to censoring pro wrestling.
I mean,
we could compare, WWE when it comes to censoring to AEW, having glass on your face and having glass on your ass cheeks. In a match that could have been main evented.
Now that you mentioned it, we might as well just book that as a future big topic, really. I mean, we already just thought of an idea right there on the spot, which fits very well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, so potentially everybody go flip yourself. But hey, I'm glad you guys mentioned AEW, because AEW are finally planning to merge their international and continental championships to possibly form the Continental International Championship. Thank God we're going to get rid of one of if not both of these belts. Hell, merge the TNT title along with that as well. That thing is
what is
just
that?
barely existent. Exactly. Like what is that? It's the little prop that Daniel Garcia is holding right now.
Yep.
But yeah, apparently this is something that's been in the works for a while, and you can kind of tell since now that you see who are holding both of those belts.
Mm.
Oh yeah, give me number 4. That's all I'm gonna say. What do you guys think of this? Because like, I know one topic of discussion we've had in some episodes of Weebs of the Ring has been the fact about maybe there are too many championships in some of these promotions and all that. You know, like should we merge some of these? Should we not? I mean, right now we have in NXT our women's champion and the North American women's champion are both the same person. You know, not saying they're going to be merging those belts right now, but I mean, it is always hell. There's another freaking topic for a big question, a big hot topic, if you will, about belts and all that. But yeah, what do you guys think of this?
I will ask. So the question is: AEW has 4 titles in men's. AEW World is by Jon Moxley. AEW TNT is by Daniel Garcia. AEW International is by Kenny Omega, and AEW Continental is by Okada. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm staring at Wikipedia. You know, Chad. You know, Wikipedia could lie, so that's why I'm still here confirming. For tag team, we have a trio and we have a tag team, which that's totally fine to me. We have 2. All right, cool. For the women's, I'm a bit confused. We have the AEW Women's World Championship, which is Timeless Tony Storm, but then we have the AEW the TBS Championship, which is Mercedes Moné.
Yep, Moné. Yeah.
Okay, so for the women's, we only have 2, which is okay. I'm okay with that. Is 2 titles. Even though Mercedes has 2 on her on the picture I'm looking at. When it comes to the men's of the international and the continental, it makes sense to merge them. Because the way I see it, the continental reminds me of the North American title from NXT, and the international reminds me of the IC title for the main roster. So I feel like just merging them just makes sense because the other version of the Continental is the U.S. title, you know, from WWE, from SmackDown. So just merging 2 titles that feels like is inconsequential, it don't make sense when you could just merge them better, and you don't have much of your roster, and when you only have Dynamite and Collision, and a lot of people don't watch Collision, and very few people watch Dynamite. So having 2 titles to merge it, maybe it could help your roster. Maybe it could actually help your booking. But that is hearsay, she say. How about you, John?
So pretty much these 2 titles are practically the same thing. So the best thing that they could really do is just merge them, have it become its own thing. Hopefully it's not like a super long name. Because I mean, I wouldn't put it past them if they do that. I know they tried it originally doing like an Intercontinental, but obviously that's trademarked by WWE, so they can't really do that. So, I mean, I'm not even thinking about what names they can call it, but I feel like it's a good decision. We obviously know that this match is going to happen at All In this year. So whenever that happens, you could solve that problem. I would assume you'd see both of these guys come out with the belts, and then you'll probably have the new belt revealed after the match, or possibly maybe during the build up to that match, you could probably see it shown off before, and however they want to structure it. But this is definitely a smart move just to eliminate that little problem that they have here.
Yeah. Hopefully it fixes it. Hopefully it fixes it. But yeah, so this next story here, I'm not too familiar with this name. Apparently there's some controversy with him though.
Yeah, I don't even know.
So WWE's planning on doing a short event after WrestleMania. So on 420, please it.
Matt Riddle.
They're planning on this thing called the Roast of WrestleMania, hosted by this Tony Hinchcliffe guy, and apparently there's some controversy with him. Something about I think he said something about Puerto Rico or something. I'm not really sure. Vash, I'm going to turn to you. Do you know who this person is by chance?
I know a lot of comedians, and this one I've never heard of.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't even know what it is. I threw it on here just for us to talk about because it's one of
Yeah.
those things that you talk about on shows like this, where it's like, okay, we're gonna have that little shit post to talk about on our little section of news when it comes to things to really talk about. And this is one thing I saw here. Is like, okay, the roast of WrestleMania. I mean, first off, who asked for that? And then second, I mean,
Yeah.
what is this gonna be? Like, is it going to be a little special we get annually after WrestleMania, or is it just a one-off? Like,
Yeah.
I don't really understand the whole idea behind it because it's like I don't know. It's like I don't know how I could really get like hooked to it because this is like different when you're doing like those other roasts where it comes to like well-known comedians where you could have dirt that you could rip from them when it comes to certain things they did over the years or certain like movies that the people done. Let's say, you know, let's use Eddie Murphy for example. You could easily pick a lot of roles he did. You could have a roast for him saying, "Oh, Eddie, why'd you dress up as so and so? Why'd you do this? Why'd you do that?" Like, there's just a lot of stuff that you could easily pull into a roast to really make it entertaining. Like, I don't know how this is gonna work.
Yeah.
Like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna talk about things that happened within WrestleMania over the years that a lot of people didn't like, or talk about a questionable decision, or whatever the case may be. Like, I don't know what this is, and I also don't know who this guy is as well. Like, I've never seen him at all, and this is the first time I've seen it today.
Yeah.
So,
And I think
I don't
think part of it too is like there are plenty of stuff on YouTube that kind of do things like this. I mean,
yeah,
there's Botchamania
Yeah.
for the biggest example. I know Cultaholic kind of has a show. They put it on their Patreons because they can do a little bit more with it. But they
Yeah.
have a show called WTF Moments from the PLEs and pay-per-views and all that, which is basically Ross being like, "What the hell is going on?" Like there's a plethora too of other things on, you know, just online that kind of already do this. So I don't know if this is just WWE trying to do their own thing and WWEify it, or like what
Exactly
it
what
actually
you
all is.
said.
Yeah, I think that's what it
It's-
is.
You said it
Yeah.
perfectly. That WWE wants to have their stamp on it, and they want to have that trademark and be
Yeah.
the center point of it. My thing is, you guys have Netflix contracts with motherfucking comedians. You literally have a guy named called Fluffy that has outsold
him.
stadiums and fucking arenas, and who literally has pop in and wear merch
Numerous.
of a WWE fucking button down
He's there
t-shirts.
all the time too.
He's there literally all the time, just what Drop said, and you're telling me
Yeah.
you're gonna choose a guy that even I, who knows a lot of comedians, works in the entertainment world, don't even know who this guy is, not even once, name don't
Yeah.
even sound familiar, don't feel
I
like
don't
I've
even-
heard him once.
Yeah, I don't even know who it is either, but that would be the first one I would really pull up because at least
Thank
a lot
you.
of people know who Fluffy is, and Fluffy would actually make something like this entertaining.
And he knows the stories, he's involved with it, he's
Yeah.
invested, he talks about it, how he hypes, he's done the fucking backstage segments with Bianca, Liv, and a few other superstars. Jay Uso, I think, one time doing Yeet. I think with LA Knight one time as well. So for him to be doing these things, the WWE, you fumbled. A lot of people during NXT the past couple of weeks will say Tony fumbled with fucking Tony Starks, but nah, it was this one. I'll say WWE, you fumbled with this one, comedian. Unless it comes out good for you. But I don't know this guy in a fraction of my life.
Yep. Yeah, Tony. Tony, you fumbled Tony Stark's just as bad as Marvel fumbled Thor 2. But, you know, that's neither here nor there. We'll see, I guess, what this is and what this ends up becoming. I don't know. We'll find out. But hey, you know what is, as I hit my kunai on my table, I don't know if you guys heard that, but anyways, I digress. But you know what is coming? You know what is coming to the WWE? Ray Phoenix, because we thought he came on Monday. Like me and Vash both thought it was him, but no, it was some masked luchador wearing an American-made mask. And for all of you thinking it's Chad Gable, I don't know. They were both in the same room at the same time. It can't be Chad Gable. I don't flipping know. But Ray Phoenix is coming to WWE. WWE deal with Ray Phoenix it's almost done. He's almost here, folks. Don't worry. And it sounds like him and Penta are still going to not only have their names, but they're going to be put together in their tag team as the Lucha Bros. Something that we've been speculating for months, years, maybe decades, but mainly just months going on. I'm excited for this. I'm excited to see them do some fun lucha things and show us what exactly they can do.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. Like, it's good. Like, we already knew he was heading there ever since he got his release, and even beforehand, we already knew that he was going to be heading here eventually. So it's nice that things are coming together little by little, and we could see him and Penta together again. And it's also nice that they're keeping the same name as well. Because I know that's something I know a lot of people love talking about online when it comes to, oh, they better keep their name, they better do this, they better do that. I mean, they obviously know that the name is very marketable. They're going to keep the Lucha Brothers because that's what they've been known for years. So, good.
Exactly. But
I'll
what
vote for
about you,
yes too.
Vash? Are you?
Yeah.
Vash is
Yeah.
excited for some more fun lucha things. But you know what, Vash, I'm going to continue on to you because you had some fun with some podcasts this week, didn't you?
Yes, I did have some fun with some podcasts. Even though I changed it up in the document, I said something else. But hey, you know what? You already brought it to me. Quick thing is, Chad, we had JD McDonough go check out the podcast with Chris Van Violet. I keep pronouncing his last name wrong. My apologies. But JD said that he was hurting or brooding during the match with the Viking. Whoa. War Raiders, and he explained about his crack ribs and him pushing through, and him talking about his injury and him being right now off cam. I say off cam. You know, him taking time off. You know, vacation time. You know, him healing. And it was a good interview. I've only listened like to 25 minutes in, so I haven't checked it out fully.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fully hour. I was also listening to AJ Styles. That one is not say hard to go through, but I also like an hour and 55 minutes. I didn't expect for Chris and AJ to actually have a 2-hour podcast, so that one threw me off. Right Drive actually was a long one. I still haven't finished. I think I'm only like an hour and 15 minutes in.
Oh, damn. So you still have like 40-something minutes then.
Yeah, and quick side thing. I don't know why the timeline was so fucking butthurt of what AJ Styles said that wrestling moments are moments within it. And the whole timeline was upset about it, that he had to correct it, and it, like, not say correct it, but explain what it meant. It's like, yo, y'all just reading too deep into it. And I'm like, yeah, like I understood what he meant. Like, wrestling moments are within the match, but doesn't mean the whole match is a relevant moment. If it is, that means that everything was good, and you couldn't just pick one moment. But if one moment was really stood out, that's what the match was there for. The match don't disqualify itself for being a bad moment. It's just that that one moment within the match was still a better moment than the whole match itself, which is still not a bad thing. And the way the internet took so much out of it, like, yeah, just fucking yourself up more in the butt about it. The fuck?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, those are just the purists, the ones that are in there for like every single move of every single detail and all that. It's just like, you know, that's cool. That's cool and all. Like, I get that, but like, I don't know. I don't know. Like, he has a point, because I mean, that's with any media too. Like, you remember the big moments. Like, you remember, like, I mean, quick little Daima spoilers. You remember the Super Saiyan 4. Like, you remember that shit.
Yeah, like
some
you
of the
remember,
other stuff, not too much.
Like, you remember from people keep talking about two of the biggest moments that Elimination Chamber, go fuck yourself, and John Cena turning heel. People still talk about Jade and the other stuff, but people be forgetting that, damn, Randy Orton came back that night as well. Like, all those little small things happen, but people talk about two main things: go fuck yourself, the Travis Scott slap, and John Cena turning heel. So it's all about the moments within the wrestling match itself as well.
Yeah,
but I will have more thoughts about next week when it comes to Grappling the Week, when it comes to JD, because I was only 25 minutes in, and I would like to give more thought about the interview and about JD itself because I'm really curious to see,
Yeah.
and I'm so glad about the comments because the YouTube video came out I think a day ago or something, and I just love how
Mhm.
supportive the comments are. He said like, "Hey, feel better. We hope back for your support. We can't wait to hear a huge pop for you." So just to see that a man had to fucking break his rib cage, literally be out of breath, still finish a match just for the fans just to kind of get him over and love more, just to be like, "Alright, we can't wait to have you back." I'm like, yeah, couldn't be like this before he did all this for ya. But hey,
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Yeah, sorry, I got distracted.
Yeah.
I just saw that Gotcha Yakuta trailer. That looks really good.
Yeah, it did. It did.
Oh, there's a trailer out?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know
posted
what
it
I'm
in our
watching
group
after
chat.
this.
Yeah.
I know what I'm watching after this. Oh,
If you want to see it later, is on the Anime Central. I already posted a few
Yep.
things for the things that got revealed. So a lot of things are popping up, but I'm posting it while we do the podcast.
Word.
Yep.
Perfect. All right. Well, hey, that's basically our greater wrestling media now.
Most
So
fun.
we're gonna move on to our next segment here, known as the Turnbuckle Tidbits. This is the part of the show where we talk about both NXT and AEW Dynamite, the good, bad, and the mediocre at best. So I'm gonna start us off with Dynamite. I'm gonna be fairly quick with this because Dynamite this week is a whole heaping pile of meh. Because so there were a lot of injuries coming out of Revolution, which again, very good show. Highly recommend you guys go and watch it because again, really good. But yeah, there were a lot of injuries, a lot of banged up people, so they couldn't really use a lot of their top stars. But how do we continue on from Revolution? Probably not with a meh show like this, because this was just a whole big pile of meh. But I try to be as positive as I can with a lot of stuff. So like one of our first segments here, Kenny Omega came out and he's looking closely at the field of competitors at this tournament that's going on. So there's going to be a set of 4 matches this week. 2 of them are happening on Collision. That's going to be like Ricochet versus Shibata and Mark Davis versus blanking on the other person right now, but I'll have to look that up later with the tournament and all that. But that's going to happen on Collision. But tonight we had 2 of them. And it was OC, so Orange Cassidy taking on Hechicero, which, if you know those 2 names, I'm surprised you remember Hechicero, because cool, neat, awesome. OC wins. The match is fine, but you kind of already knew who was going to win that match anyways. Orange Cassidy had that easy. And we had a debuting Speedball Mike Bailey taking on the Beast Mortos. So I'm not too familiar with Speedball Mike Bailey, but this guy, first of all, he seems like a walking bobblehead. So already he's kind of won me over just from his looks alone. But his moveset's pretty cool. He does like a lot of kicks. Kind of reminds me of Ralph Macchio with like Karate Kid and all that in a way. So it kind of takes me back to like those times and everything.
Oh, yeah.
But the match was fine. It's just, again, you kind of know who's probably going to win this match considering who's in it. Exactly. What the motion that's drops doing. You can't see it happening, but I did see it happening. So both Orange Cassidy and Speedball Mike Bailey make it to the final, which is going to be a fatal 4-way next week on Dynamite with the people who win this Saturday, which, spoiler alert, probably going to be Ricochet as one of them. So that's going to be cool. And he even had a promo too where he's just like, "Oh, I'm coming for you, Kenny," even though he's still kind of pissed that Swerve beat him, but whatever, I guess he's just going to move on for now from that. But this does get a meh for me just because a lot of the matches that we're seeing are kind of predictable, even though the match quality is pretty high up there. It's just, again, I can't really get behind something that's too predictable. Like it's one thing for a match to be predictable, like, oh, let's say let's say, Tiffany Stratton's going to have a title defense tomorrow night against Michin. We kind of know Tiffany Stratton's going to win. So it's like your level of investment is just not up there because you know who's going to win. But yeah, it's just a big old pile of meh. So speaking of meh, hey, the Ops, which is freaking Hook and Shibata and Samoa Joe, they have a squash match. Cool, great, neat. Glad we're doing more with them. Awesome. Next thing on my list of things from AEW Dynamite, Will Hobbs and Hologram defeated Brian Cage and Dralistico. This was a very sloppy match. This felt like it was just thrown together last minute, and there were a couple spots where like Powerhouse Hobbs just he was kind of flopping everybody around. There was a cool moment with Brian Cage where he catches Hologram and like gives him like a suplex outside. Like that spot was cool. And there was starting to be some meaty action between him and Hobbs, but yeah, overall it was just kind of sloppy. Like it just felt like, hey, you guys, you got to go out there for a tag match in 10 minutes. Yeah, have fun. Go after it. It was great. It was awesome. But hey, at least we're capitalizing on Harley Cameron, right? At least we're doing something with her talents, right?
No.
Right?
No.
Right?
No.
Right? We were so good. We were doing so good with her. And then you're just going to be like, oh, throw a mask on her, have her awkwardly shake her
hips. She did
hips.
that before, didn't she? And then for like a little bit?
I think so.
I
think so, but it's like...
It's random. Yeah. That's honestly as random as Hobbs being in a match like that. That's like
exactly
almost, that's like you're booking Big Show in the LWO.
Yeah, it's like, why are you doing this? You know, it just again, it just felt like it was thrown together last minute. Just like, hey, you guys are in singles feuds. Get together and have a tag match. Great. That'll fix everything. That'll really get the butts in the seats and all that.
Oh yeah.
But of course, speaking of butts, I can't mention butts and talk about AEW without mentioning Tony Storm, timeless Tony Storm. I think, you know what? I think I'm coming around to the gimmick. I think I really am. Because I'm actually kind of giving it more of a chance. And Tony's delivery on a lot of her promos are just really fun and really good. I mean, she comes out there, she's just like, the tramp is champ and all that stuff. Like, she's really leaning into just kind of like these double entendres with a lot of the things that she's saying. But basically, she comes out for this... Oh, go ahead.
I just want to say a comment. I would love to know in the future if she writes her own promos or if she gets help with a writer producer that she gets into it. Because it's when she speaks her promos, it sounds like a lot of her. But I wonder if it all comes from her, or does she get any type of, Paul Heyman type of help, from somebody in the back that, guides her to, mesh the character, have evolved. Because out of the woman division, Tony Storm is one of the best storytellers in AEW, and with her character, like, she does such great wonders. So I just really want to know, like, the behind the scenes aspect. Like, I know, some wrestlers don't like to reveal that, but I hope with Tony Storm, I'd like to know that detail, because that's really interesting how she gets in the timeless Tony aspect of it.
I'm sure she might. I don't know how much is actually just her, or what all is like a mix of her with somebody else. But I mean, either way, she's, again, performance of a lifetime. And I love too how we get this video package of just like the 18-month story with her and Mariah May. Like, it was produced and edited really well. There's a part where they show the reveal from Collision a few weeks ago, or like a couple months ago, when she revealed that it was all an act for the amnesia thing. And like it's so cool because like when she takes her shirt off The transition from like color to black and white is so good.
Yeah.
Like kudos to the editing team with that. But yeah, again, Tony Storm's just out here just to say, look, I have staples in my head, I got glass in my ass, but I'm looking towards the future. Who's going to be challenging me next? I like too. She kind of throws some jabs at the AEW World Title and Mercedes being a belt collector and all that. Basically saying, yeah, the other world title is in a briefcase. I don't know. Like, I don't know. It's just cool to see some shade being thrown, but she's immediately attacked by Megan Bayne. So I'm cautiously optimistic with this. The reason being, because match will slap. Like that, again, par for the course when it comes to AEW. However, is it... Job, maybe you can help me with this. Does it feel a little too early for Megan Bayne to be going for the world title?
Yes, because when I was watching JD's coverage of this last night when I was in bed, because I tend to put YouTube videos on to fall asleep or just to watch something in the meantime before I get ready to fall asleep. But one of the things that he was mentioning in there that I do agree with is the fact that you're kind of booking Megan Bayne and Tony Storm in a corner. And the reason why I say that is because you have Tony Storm, that's the AEW Women's Champion. She doesn't need a loss. You need to have that momentum continuing to go, especially after that big win she had over Mariah May at the Revolution pay-per-view. And you also have Megan Bayne that you're building as a talent to get credibility and everything to move her to greater things in the future. And obviously this was going to be a stop that she would have on her journey, but you're putting her in a situation again where you're trying to build momentum for her. So now you're putting two people in the same category where neither of them can afford a loss. So it's a very fishy situation depending on the sort of direction they go down with it. And there's a part of me thinking that this might potentially turn into a multi-woman thing, only just to have that I don't know why I was saying outsider, but just to have another person over that can afford a pin. So those two individuals that I mentioned don't get a loss there. So you would have Tony pin that other person and not Megan Bayne. Yeah. Kind of like you get a little sneak preview of a Megan Bayne and Tony Storm program before you move on to it, and it's actually a one-on-one. So there's a part of me thinking this might turn into like either a triple threat or someone else gets thrown in there just so they can take the pin in this, because we get it. People want to see this match against these two girls, but it's kind of hard because it's like she just came here. Well, she's been signed for the company for a while, but it's like now you're starting to build her, and it's not, I don't think it's the best decision to put her in a scenario because I know me and you, Watkins, we look at Tony Storm and Megan Bayne, and neither of us are gonna argue when it comes to us figuring out who the winner should be, and that's Tony, because she's the champion. She just got it back recently, and it doesn't make sense for her to lose the title, especially that quickly, to somebody like Megan Bayne. Yeah, and especially after the war she went. Yeah, just this past Sunday. I mean, just like, and that's nothing. It's nothing to take away from Megan Bayne, because I mean she's a powerhouse. Yeah. Like that's her whole thing. Like she is. She's literally a Greek goddess walking amongst mortals. That's her whole thing. That's part of her entrance and all that. But like to see, I don't know. I'm not ready for it yet. Yeah. I think that's part of it, and I think maybe All In give it to us. Yeah. Uh-oh. Shh. What's wrong? What's wrong? See, even Sydney doesn't like it. Even Sydney doesn't like this decision. Come here. Yeah, because it's almost like, let's say if hypothetically, if WWE decided to do this, and I'm just using them as a comparison, not to shit on another company, but it's almost like if WWE, so we have EO here. I'll use her as an example, so she's the Women's World Champion on Raw. Let's say hypothetically they take somebody from NXT, like, let's say Julia comes up right after this loss that she had with Stephanie, which we'll talk about in a little bit, and then you feed her right into a program like that. Does it make sense to visit that? Of course. Is it a match that people want? Of course. But even though you got Julia on NXT building up her credibility there, she needs to do that on the main roster too, so the people on the main roster can get familiar with her, so they can accept her, so they become fans of her and everything. You can't just be like, okay, Julia goes on the main roster and she targets Io right away, and then you give Io the title, you have her afford a loss. Like, you got to play your cards correctly, so you have that certain person in that spot when it calls for it, so they're in other high profile matches before they get there. Because one of the things that I feel like they should have done at first is deal with whatever's going on with Megan Bayne and Chris Statlander before you started venturing down this whole territory with Tony Storm. Like, I'm not sure if that was resolved yet. I would assume it's still an ongoing thing between the both of those ladies.
I mean, we see it later on where like
so
they're not done.
Okay, so it might end up being a triple threat.
Yeah. So, triple threat, multi-woman thing. I don't know, because I mean, and I'll mention it here. I mean, the segment later on, which is first of all, Willow Nightingale, you are a much better talent than what you displayed this past Wednesday. So, yeah. Her match with Penelope Ford was shit. It was god awful. Like, it was just really bad, from like sloppiness to horrible selling.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, God forbid the end of the match, like after the match, the little beatdown, the try with the chair. Like,
yeah, we need to get that chair
Jesus Christ.
We need to stop doing stuff with chairs for a while. But yeah, I agree with that, because you don't normally see this out of her. Like, that's the thing. Like, there's a lot of weird placement with talent when it comes to certain programs that they decide to segue into, where it's like you randomly insert one person here. And I understand why they're doing it. They're trying to create shock value. That's why they did that whole entire thing with Tony Storm and Megan Bayne, is because it's shock value. Oh my God, Megan Bayne, she's getting in a title program with Tony Storm. Holy shit. That's like you got Obafemi going after Gunther if he ever goes on the main roster right away. It's like, Gunther, I want you for that world championship on his first day on a Monday Night Raw. So, like, I get why they do it for shock value, but you got to play your cards correctly. And I mean, stuff that I don't know. I wasn't a fan of that match at all, because I've seen Willow Nightingale really go. Like, if you recall that match that she had with Chris Statlander last year, where those two girls tore each other apart, she could really go. Even the match that she had with Mercedes, she could really go. So it's like it's odd when it comes to like how everything's orchestrated. It's almost like you have a blueprint and there's certain parts that you need to follow before you're able to build whatever product you're trying to do out of that. But it seems like you got a blueprint here, but it's like ripped in half, and you kind of like have to piece it together so you know where you're really going with it.
Yeah, exactly. And like, and just with like the post-match beatdown thing, like you have Chris Statlander coming out there to help her. You know, we're still trying to process Chris becoming a face again.
Yeah, we never got that
with Willow. Yeah, like we're still trying to process that. And then Mega Bayne just comes out there and just squashes them both. So it's like, it's just weird. It's really weird how we're like setting all this up, or like what we're doing with all this stuff. Like, it's just,
especially the kind of program Tony came out of too. Like, imagine going from where Tony was now into something like that.
Yeah, like it's on par with like, okay, here's Cody winning the WWE title, and then like at WrestleMania, like he did last year, and then the next night on Raw, he starts a program with Otis.
Yeah, I know. Actually, you know that kind of reminds me of that program he had with Brock at first, where it felt very underwhelming, the way that they were building it and everything. Because it's like it came out of nowhere, and then you were a little bit interested to see where it was going, but it's just the way that it was built, it just felt really awkward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really did. But yeah, so like the women just were...
Yeah.
I don't know what they were doing with them. You know, besides Tony, obviously. And I mean, with Mercedes, I mean, I'll mention more of the Mercedes things, I think, next week. I think that'll be a good time to kind of talk about what they might be doing with that. Which I'm not a fan of if what happens ends up happening, but that's neither here nor there. Christian Cage continues to be a shit father figure. He starts making excuses for his loss of his little Money in the Bank contract from Revolution, which again, very shit finish, way to get rid of that. Like, people wanted to complain about Drew losing his Money in the Bank briefcase.
That made sense.
Y'all can shut up.
Yeah, that made sense at least. Because even when we talked about that around the time, it made sense with the direction it was going down. Because no matter where Drew decided to use that, those two guys, Cody and Gunther, were protected with that title. It didn't make any sense for him to win because of that feud with Punk. But
exactly.
I do recall we did talk about Christian, if I'm not mistaken. We did talk about. I think we talked about it on Monday, or maybe we did it last. I don't know. I remember having a conversation with you about Christian, where the only thing that really comes out of this when it comes to him is he has to take responsibility for his own actions, because he came in there, and I get it. The opportunity was there for him because he saw Moxley and Copeland down, and he wanted to sign that little contract, which I didn't understand why that wasn't signed beforehand. But anyways, you have him come out there. He inserts himself in a match, becomes a triple threat. You can't blame Copeland because Copeland wasn't punching him or throwing him out of the ring or whatever. He attacked Copeland to get him out of there. And then as soon as the opportunity was there, Moxley came over there and put him in that submission, and then he ended up passing out. So he can't really blame anybody but himself, because he got himself in that position. He passed out himself, and that was his opportunity that he lost. So
exactly. And his way of like getting around it, or like trying to say it was unfair, was apparently when he signed the contract, he was signing it for a one-on-one match for the world title against Edge, against Adam Copeland. And it's like, when you sit back and think about it, you're like, wait, why would the match for the AEW world title be against Copeland when he's not even the champion?
Yeah, no, it doesn't make any sense. It's like you have the Money in the Bank contract, Tiffany Stratton comes out with it, and then let's say who was the champion around? Nia Jax. Let's say Nia Jax was in a match with Naomi, and then Tiffany Stratton cashed in her contract. It's like, okay, Naomi, I need you to get out of the ring now. It's a match between me and Nia now for that title. So Naomi, just go in the back, go to catering, have water, have a couple snacks or whatever. This isn't your match anymore. It's between me and her. It doesn't make any sense, because the way that those things work is that pretty much is their gimmick of the Money in the Bank contract, like AEW version. When you use that contract, you're inserted, you turn it into a triple threat, a fatal four-way, whatever the case may be. You turn it into a match where you're added with an ongoing match that's currently going on. So that didn't make any sense.
No, it didn't. But I'm glad Nick Wayne though came out and was just like, hey, you're making excuses.
Yeah.
And Christian went full on horrible stepdad mode, literally saying, look, even Nick Wayne's mom tried to get in the way, and he was just like, don't make me bring you back to Waffle House, don't make me send you back there to work the night shift and all that.
House, which that bothered me. I'm like, how do you disrespect Waffle House?
Yeah, how dare you, sir? I've been there many times at 1 or 2 a.m. for a good old drunken feast, that. Don't talk shit on Waffle House. But I guess we're leaning towards the Nick Wayne face turn with this, which fine, neat, cool, awesome. MJF, he comes out next. He says that he's not done with Hangman. He's gonna, get back to him and all that. Your typical MJF shtick, where it's like, okay, I'm still gonna heal it up. We're not done yet. We're not done yet, sir. Yeah. But an interesting turn of events here, where MVP comes out And so apparently they've had history in the past where like MJF, when he was like 18, went to MVP, was just like, hey man, give me some pointers here. I'm fairly new and blah, 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 all that stuff. And MVP, like, it looks like he's offering MJF a spot with the Hurt Syndicate. And I kind of like how he's being real with MJF. He's here where he's just like, nobody in the back respects you. They all want to bully you. They all like think you're just lower than them. And you're somebody that's not that. Like, you're somebody that even back then I saw what the kids are calling today aura and all that. So he offers his card to MJF. MJF doesn't accept it at first. But then MVP's just like, because one thing that MJF did mention, he's just like, I appreciate the offer, I respect you, blah, 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 all that stuff. But I was world champion, without you guys, blah, blah, like saying all that stuff. But MVP, he left it with this. He's just like, yeah, you were. Now look at you. So he's trying to hearken on the whole, like, I was champion, I used to be this thing, but now I'm not. So now he's like, he's getting into MJF's head.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, you've lost that edge and all that. So, like, yep, he even said that during the promo part. He's just like, we can help you with that. And I like, too, how MVP here says, I was giving this card out to people just to kind of introduce myself a little bit, but me and you, I don't need to introduce myself. This is a business transaction now. So it's one of those things where it's like, okay, now you can be part of us. We can help you because now that we've established ourselves here in AEW as champions, yeah, you can use our help. Like that, this could be a thing. And MJF he starts pondering this. So I don't know if he's going to actually like join the Hurt Syndicate or anything. Like, I know he had his one group way back when, before like actually winning the title. But it could be a thing. It could be a thing where he he joins the Hurt Syndicate, or at least he uses them to get to the world title. I don't know if he's going to win the world title, but that could be maybe something later on down the road. But then it leads to like another confrontation with Hangman Page where they have words. They both call each other out for like having the mask drop and all that, both being real with each other. Again, this feud's kind of saving AEW a little bit. And I mean, I say saving AEW, but I know it's not the only thing that needs to happen to help the company and the product out, but it's a good thing. It's at least something I can watch and be like, I'm enjoying this. I want to know more of this. You guys are doing interesting things to make me feel engaged. Yes. More of that, please, from everybody. Because that's the thing. I like MJF. I like Hangman Adam Page. I like the Hurt Syndicate. They're cool people too. So yeah, give me this. Give me all of this. Yeah, I don't know. Drop, did you see any of this segment, or like you too, Vash? Like, did you guys see any of it, or see any talk, any more speculation going on with this? Because this is something that you could actually kind of dive a little bit more into.
I think
No.
you pretty much said my thought.
Yeah, you kind of nailed it.
I took that Thor hammer and just went whap on it.
No,
and then
you
these last
went
two things.
boom.
I did. I did bring the boom there, didn't I? Didn't I, Vash? See, chat. Even Vash just brought the boom for us. Finally, he comes full circle. Love to see it. But these last two things, really quick. Takeshita squashed Max Caster. I'm getting kind of tired of this gimmick of Max Caster and his open challenges
That's kind of stupid.
and calling himself the best wrestler in the world. I'm tired of it.
Doesn't make
But at
any
least
sense.
Takeshita could get some heat out. That was good for him. And Will Ospreay, he cuts a promo. He talks about how banged up he is. He looks to win the AEW title at All In. And I mean, as much as I like to ramble, this kind of felt very rambly, except in very thick British accent. He did apparently tell a story how he told his wife he was going out for milk or something, and then he had a match, and then she's like, "Don't you?"
It sounded like he was never gonna return or some shit.
Yeah, I don't know. To be honest, it was very wordy and very British.
Yeah.
So I'm just sitting there like, okay, dude, you're going to All In. You're entering the Owen Hart tournament. Awesome. Looking forward to seeing the matches you do. But again, that was AEW. It was kind of meh, but you know, it was fine. It was fine. Question mark.
All right.
Yeah.
But you know what was not fine? It was better. It was NXT Roadblock. And I got you. Roadblock was amazing. Me and Job will talk about it. I know Watkins will chime in since he was also watching it this past week. It was Roadblock at Madison Square Garden at the theater. And let's just get talks to first about some of the matches that happened tonight. One of the first matches was a TNA World Tag Team title match. It was the Hardy Boys, Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy defeated Fraxium, Axiom, and Nathan Fraser. It was a 12-minute match, and this match was fucking amazing. How Axiom almost took out Nathan Fraser on that fucking jump. That shit was insane. And it cost them the match, but it was a good back and forth tag team match. I don't have much to say other than the highlight that really threw me off of the, you know, the miscommunication that they keep showing. But they worked so hard. They got the first pin, but it was not for their titles. It was just to get the TNA. Obviously, they was not gonna get it, but this was a good W. I mean, a good match to show. You know, both of them go at it once more. Also entertained by a job. How about you?
I thought this was a really good match, and it goes to show that the Hardy Boys could still do their thing when they want, when it comes to putting on good matches like they did with Fraxium, because this is something that a lot of people have been wanting to see ever since they started doing the TNA and WWE partnership. A lot of people are like, okay, well, when are we going to get the Hardys and Fraxium? When are we going to get it? And then we ended up getting it on Roadblock, and it was enjoyable all the way through. I thought it was a very strong open to the show because, like Vash said, NXT Roadblock, it made this episode of NXT, because it wasn't a pay-per-view or anything. It was an episode of NXT, but they made it feel like a pay-per-view when it comes to the quality of these matches that they were doing. And it's good that the Hardy Boys are going to be reoccurring, because we've even seen reports of them potentially having some spots on the main roster, which makes sense because I feel like they have a card to really get there. Because, I mean, like they said last week, you know, this is their home. This is where they really started everything outside of, obviously, their careers and other promotions, and especially with TNA. But this is where a lot of people know them for. These are the kind of guys we saw with Edge and Christian. These are the same guys we saw with the Dudley Boys and everything. So it was nice to see them together, and it was nice having a good showcase match when it came to Nathan Fraser and Axiom. And I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest if we see these guys run it back at Stand and Deliver, or I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. I don't think this is the last time that we see these guys compete in the ring with one another.
How about you, Walker? Any thoughts about this?
Give me another one. Actually, no. Correction, because I saw this on Cultaholic covering it. Give us one for the NXT titles that Fraxium wins. So now we're tied up. Winner take all ladder match at Stand and Deliver.
I like that. I'm going for it.
Just give me the ladder match. Give it to me.
To continue the TNA partnership in a way, we have two more. We have the singles match of Jordan Grace defeats Roxanne Perez on an 11-minute match. We have the bout of them going a good offense constructed with the Perez agility and technical powers. After a competitive match, Grace emerges victorious and further solidifying her dominance in the women division of NXT. So fucking great. She goes to powerhouse. I love how she always uses her powers and her speed.
Yeah, I mean, this is honestly like the best way to really sum it up. You got a powerhouse like Jordan Grace going up against Roxanne, where she's done for agility. You know, she's a lot smaller. She can move around a lot more. She could show up what she could do from a technical point of view, because we've seen how good Roxanne has been over the years ever since she first came into NXT. And I'm not sure if you guys knew this, but I believe she was the first Ring of Honor women's champion over there, which
I remember
good on her part. But I mean, basically the way I looked at this, you give Jordan Grace her moment. You're obviously building her up, giving her momentum in NXT, getting her familiar with the crowd outside of the other appearances that she did here, and you have her go up against another name. And then here, with a little difference with last time they were in the ring with each other when Roxanne was champion, you have Jordan Grace get her win back. And I also look at this as a way where it's like Roxanne is doing whatever else she can before she heads up to the main roster, because that's like a typical thing you really see when it comes to a lot of talent in NXT. When they're ready to head up to the main roster, they do a couple more matches to help put people over when it comes to, oh my god, okay, this is the one I should be paying attention to when it comes to these main title programs or mid-card, whatever the case may be. But I enjoy this match. I thought it was really good, and this just ended up continuing the rhythm here when it came to, the nonstop action that we got in NXT, especially when it comes to the next match, which I don't know if you want to say any words on this match before we move on to the next one with Oba, because that one.
Go for it. I'm good with you leading us off on that one, because about the Undertaker stuff goes for talk to us about
anything
this.
You want to say about the Roxy match or Watkins?
No. Oh, Watkins, go ahead.
Okay, so the thing I like about Oba is, well, I mean, he's great. He's one of those what was it, NIL talents that they had alongside Tiffany Stratton and Carmelo Hayes. I know Braun Breaker is also part of that as well, but he's one of those people that came out of there that really became something great. And they obviously see a lot of things in this guy because he is the longest North American champion on the men's side. They obviously had him break that record for a reason, because they don't have people break records if it doesn't mean something. So I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest if he ends up breaking, I don't know if it was Finn or Adam Cole that has the longest NXT champion reign. I want to say
it was Adam Cole.
Yeah, I want to say it's Adam Cole.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest if he ends up breaking that record and he ends up going over that, which, I mean, you look at the guy, you literally need like Thanos and Galactus and all these other guys to really take the guy down, because he's unstoppable. He's an unstoppable force. But I like to Obafemi, you saw him with The Undertaker, because he was heading out there, and then you pan it to The Undertaker, because one of the things that they did bring up last week is that a lot of the LFG coaches were going to be on the show. You saw something with Jada Parker and Mickey James, and I believe you also saw something with the Dudleys and Fraxium. So it's like with Oba, getting that rub from Undertaker out of all people. I mean, this is the same guy that had interactions with John Cena. You remember when John Cena was there all those years ago and Undertaker talked to him backstage and everything? Oh, yeah. When you have moments like that with The Undertaker and all these people that are legends in the game, obviously that means a lot of something. He goes out there and tells him that, I realize how important this match is to you. You got to go out there and protect your yard, which it is his yard. He's the NXT champion. This is his brand. When you have the main title on the show, you have the right to say, this is my show. Like Seth Rollins, when he was world champion, this is Monday Night Rollins. This is my show. I run this. Cody Rhodes could say that about SmackDown. This is actually, he could say that about the whole entire company, because he's the top guy. So even when Roman was. So it's like, once you have that sort of stock where you're at, yes, go defend your yard, protect what's yours. And this match was great. Like, these two went
oh my god, it was so good.
And I will say this about Moose. One thing I will say about Moose is I have not seen Moose move around like this as much in TNA. So I don't know if it's something that he had to prove in this match of Obafemi, or it's just when people are at a different spot outside of whatever talent that they're in, they want something to prove. They want to be like, okay, I'm Moose. I'm capable of doing this and that, because I've not seen Moose move around that ring like a maniac when he was going up against people before. Especially when I watched a couple of his matches in TNA, because I don't normally see, at least to my point of view, when it comes to what I see, I don't normally see people coming out of TNA be like, hey guys, did you check out that Moose match? When you have this match of Obafemi and Moose, that's literally all the timeline is talking about. Like, holy shit, Moose is a different beast in NXT. Like, we haven't really seen him do any of this kind of stuff, but it was like a hard-hitting match, and they pretty much both prove like why they're known as these big guys performing these different kinds of moves in the ring, or just showcasing why I'm Obafemi, why I'm Moose, and it was just really nice, and they have very good chemistry.
Yeah, they did. Oh my god. Oh my god. It's just so much meaty action going on. I loved it. I loved it.
Towards what Drop said, I don't have much to add. Obafemi and Moose had a great match. Drop said it perfectly. He broke it down. He said what he said about Undertaker. And this was a good, beautiful, fucking 30-minute match. And this was not the longest match of the night. It was Javon Evans in a street fight in New York City against Ethan Page, and won over in a 14 minutes and 41 seconds. Such a brutal match. Both of them going down. Very made sense that Javon Evans won, because the last match that Ethan Page and him had, Ethan Page went over. So this was a good feud for the young man and Ethan Page to go through. I love how Ethan Page, without the title, still being on PLE. He's all about ego. He's been doing good. I didn't get to talk about Sean Spears from last week, but he also became NXT champion. So congrats on him. So, as people coming from AEW, you see them and their success. So congrats to Javon Evans in this match. It was very brutal. A lot of high flying moves, but of course, because that is Javon Evans' style. So I was very happy about that. I don't got much thoughts about that. How about you, Drop?
And the street fight was honestly the best match you could really get out of these guys, because this is one of the things that you call in professional wrestling as like a blood feud, when it comes to people that really hate each other's guts, that just want to rip each other apart. Javon Evans and Ethan Page, ever since we saw that angle a couple months ago where Ethan Page busted open Javon Evans, he was bleeding from the mouth and everything, you knew straight from that spot, these guys were going to get into a very competitive match when it came to, okay, I just want this guy gone. I don't even care if this is a match anymore. In kayfabe, of course, just playing their characters. They just want each other gone. And these guys, they came out there, they dressed the part when it came to a street fight. They were wearing clothes to really represent what that kind of match is. Like, outside of like, you look at a street fight, okay, we're just going in our usual attire. No, these guys literally had street clothing, like they came from the streets, and they were just putting on some a match like this. And Javon Evans was very deserving of this win. He's going to be another talent that you got to look forward to in the future. I mean, this guy had a match with Randy Orton, out of all people, which is a legend in the game. So obviously they see a lot of stock in him. Ethan Page has been doing nothing but great things ever since he entered NXT. And like he said, when he was bragging, he was only there for about a month or so when he already became NXT champion. So that goes to show that they have another top heel in their hands whenever he goes onto the main roster. I could see him doing a lot of things to really set people off, to really piss people off. Hopefully he ends up on Raw, because I feel like he would fit very well on Raw when it comes to the sort of character he is, when it comes to the sort of lengths that he's willing to go to really get into his opponent's heads, or to really fuck them up like he did with Javon Evans. But this match did what it needed to do, and I enjoyed it. Like I said, non-stop action. I mean, the TNA partnership fits it well, like the total non-stop action, match after match after night. Like, the quality was there all the way through with each of these matches that they had. Like, there was a lot of substance with them, and this was another one to add here.
Yeah.
In the rest of NXT, we have three things to talk about. But before we get to the main event, since that's going to be more of a longer conversation to wrap before we wrap up into our hot topic, I want to get into three small things that Trick Williams, he delivered a backstage promo. So Ruka and Zadia are talking about the video package, because So Ruka will be having an NXT battle with Chelsea Green for the fucking United States Women's Championship match. I have thoughts about that. And then
I do too.
And then Fallon Henley is tired of Ava ducking her. And Ricky Saints, not Starks, is having issues with our boy Rick Holland. And Jason Sane is being involved with this. Any thoughts about this drop about Trick Williams or Ruka? Because I do, but go first.
Okay, so when it comes, I definitely have thoughts on So Ruka. So when it comes to Trick Williams, I mean, he's pretty much going through this character change ever since he lost the belt to Obafemi, which I've talked about quite a bit when we covered NXT on the show. And I feel like this is definitely building into a heel turn. This is a more edgy Trick, because the way that we saw Trick before, he was like really out there. He was connecting with the crowd. We didn't really see that anymore. So he really went downhill ever since he lost that title. And he has this whole entire feud, which again, you could call it like a blood feud with Eddie Thorpe, because Eddie Thorpe is like that roadblock where he can't really get by when it comes to him getting back to where he needs to be, which is the main event scene on NXT. And this is going to be an underground match, what they tend to do. I feel like this is like NXT's version of like, I guess, a Hell in a Cell, where it's like they go to an underground match to settle a feud, because we've seen it with Jada Parker, especially, not Jada Parker, we've seen it with Lola Vice when she's in these feuds and she's really trying to end the entire rivalry with someone, like she did with Jada Parker or whoever else is put into a predicament like this. And I do know that I believe this is actually taking place next week, if I'm not mistaken. I do not know on top of my head, but I'm hoping we move on from this. Not saying I don't like Trick Williams or anything, but I mean, Eddie Thorpe, I will come out here and say I don't find him as interesting. Nothing outside of who he is as an individual, just the sort of creative direction that they have with him. I like separating the creative with the people, because I'm not going to be one of those people blaming what they're doing because that's their job. But based on what I've seen on here, I'm hoping we get some sort of indication of where Trick is going. I would assume this probably has to tie in with that new faction. I'm going to come out and say he might be the mastermind behind that.
I agree.
When it comes to the whole Soruka and Zarya training video package that we're training together, that's pretty much just showcasing the relationship and everything, which is really nice to see. I like seeing them do something together. They're definitely two names to really pay attention to when it comes to where they're going to be in the future. And yeah, next week she has a match with Chelsea Green for the women's championship, because she did pin, actually I think it was Zarya, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember. I think, yeah, it might have been Soul that pinned Chelsea Green in that match that we had, which I don't have any issues with it, because again, you pin the champion, you get a title match. It's pretty much like a thing in WWE that we've seen, and it's like me and Watkins talked about here on Friday nights. This is a part of Chelsea Green's gimmick. This is kind of like how she is as their champion, which is something that you gotta get used to when it comes to how she is. But she's just trying to really play off her character and everything. And I feel like this is just a good moment for Soul, only because, you know, this is her having a moment with somebody that's on the main roster. And if it was up to me, they're not going to do it, obviously, because I feel like Chelsea Green will get back her win. But if it was up to me, if things were played out differently and there was actually a direction where I could see it happening, I would have personally give the title to Soul, because that's somebody I could see in the main roster doing amazing things when it comes to that. But like I said, it's probably not going to happen, because Chelsea Green more than likely is going to get her win back from them because of what happened in that match. But that's what I would have personally done if the story called for it. And then the stuff for Fall Henley, I mean, that was just her wanting to get back. I mean, the typical thing. Oh my God, I lost my match. I want to get my rematch clause. That's basically all that is. Ricky Starks obviously is going to go through Rich Holland. More than likely will beat him. And then he'll eventually have that match with Shawn Spears, and I would assume at Stand and Deliver, he would win that title.
Yeah. Plus, like the Chelsea Green thing, she had just added another person to her little stable, so it wouldn't really make sense to really derail that, you know? So, yeah, that's all I have to really say about that whole big segment. But, oh, man. Oh, that main event of NXT. Oh, beautiful. It was good.
It was fucking beautiful. Really it was good. What was her nickname? A chaotic madness or madness chaotic or something, or a beautiful madness, I think is her nickname. For those that don't know, I'm speaking about our girl Julia. She the main event happened. I don't need to add any thoughts of what already dropped and Walker's brought up. They both said it perfectly. When it comes to the NXT, if you guys don't know the spoiler, this is a fact. Like Paul Heyman has said, Stephanie Valkyr has became dominant and became a 2-time champion in WWE right now with the NXT Women Champion and the NXT North American Champion right now. She has both titles on her belt. I honestly thought it was gonna be a DQ, Roxanne or Bailey or somebody was gonna get involved, but no, clean fucking win. Booker, you are funny as hell, horny ass man. I wish I was there in person to see that. I saw a few videos online. I saw one of them that was on my timeline showing the point of view of her doing the pop with the ass cheeks and then showing
the greatest wrestling move of all time.
the greatest wrestling move of all time. And then after showing Booker, it's funny. I showed my girl too about the greatest wrestling move. She said, that looks painful. I'm like, yep, definitely looks painful. Yeah, definitely for sure.
Definitely. The fact that both of them pulled off the move too. It's just you know what? You lucky bastards.
Exactly.
So that's all. That's all. I'm just gonna leave it.
Exactly. I'm gonna keep it simple. The camera will work. Thank you. That's what I'm gonna say. For those that know, you know.
But I think honestly, the spot of the whole match though is that spiral tap into
the spiral tap
armbar.
I've seen the clip so many times on my timeline. That spiral was something I didn't expect. A lot of people said that move executing and not being caught is actually, nothing could be fatal from what I saw, but it could be hurt if you land wrong. So to actually happen and then turn into a reversal from Julia was fucking phenomenal.
Well, I'm glad you said the word phenomenal because there's a reason that AJ Styles doesn't use that move anymore because he has literally said, I don't trust myself doing that anymore because I would want to make sure it's done perfectly.
He has not done that move when he first met Hardy
saying that
in TNA in 2014-2012 when he said in Chris Van Light interview. Again, we should get sponsored from him of how much I bring his interviews, but he brings up great questions, so that's why I like to reference him. And you brought up a great thing, Walkers. Seeing that made sense because just seeing how Stephanie landed and the beautiful reversal was fucking phenomenal. Again, I saw that clip I think like almost 5-10 times with Finn the same day of how. What drop?
The triangle hold.
Yeah.
It was beautiful, but drop. You seeing both of your favorite girls in this main event. How did you feel satisfied by the win of Stephanie Valkyrie?
So, it's like I said last week, when it comes to them being in the Garden, just like how they did with Punk and Seth on Monday, they like putting on big matches to really get the attention. And they did the same thing here, where they had two titles on the line, with both of their top performers in the women's division as of right now on NXT. So you had Julia versus Stephanie Valkyrie for not only the North American Championship for the ladies, but also for Julia's NXT Women's Championship. And the best thing about this is, like, this isn't their first match. This is, like, their second match. And the fact that they're with each other all the time, as we've seen on social media, they're very close. I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest if they share a home when it comes to, like, a lot of the houses or whatever they get in Florida. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was like roommates or anything. Obviously, they have the money to afford it because, WWE does pay them well. And obviously, things that they had from other companies that they came from. But the reason why I bring this up is because you could tell throughout the match, they knew each other very well. They knew how to really pull off certain reversals, like when she went for the spiral trap, and then you had Julia counter it with the triangle, which is something that you haven't seen happen ever since Stephanie started executing that move. So the fact that it was done so well is very nice because I'm pretty sure they trained together, so they know each other so well. And it was nice how that all came together, and it was really nice to see these guys put on a performance to really show, okay, this is why I'm here in WWE. This is why I'm the NXT champion. This is why I'm the North American champion. Pretty much proving, why there's some of the best women's talent within the wrestling space. Like, even outside of WWE, I'm going to come out and say, like, even out of all the women's wrestlers that we have. Because I even said Io Sky to me is honestly one of the best, or if not the best, women's
Agreed.
wrestler as of right now. And you could throw these two names in the conversation as well because they're just very talented. And when it comes to Stephanie Vaquer being victorious in here, I mean, this is the first time I have seen her with multiple titles. But I will say this, it makes sense. And the reason why is obviously Julia was very emotional after the event. She wanted to put over her friend, and you even saw videos backstage. They were very happy how everything turned out.
Yeah, they did.
And I also feel like it might fall into whatever is going on with Julia right now. Maybe there's another story behind this, because I'm not sure if you guys knew this, but this is Julia's second time losing to Stephanie Vaquer, because they had a match. I don't remember what promotion it was, but I know last year they had a match, and
I think it was it was Stardom, wasn't it?
It must have been Stardom, where Julia had the she had like the strong women's championship that Mercedes has right now, and Stephanie Vaquer ended up winning that title from her. And then you have this match happening tonight, and then Stephanie Vaquer has another win over her. So it's pretty much a situation where it's like a 0-2, where Stephanie Vaquer has 2 wins over her. And I know at first, Vash was a little skeptical, which I'll ask you your thoughts on this after I say this, when it came to the whole match being a thing to begin with. But the way I look at this is I feel like this might be a bigger picture where there could be things going on outside of with Julia, because we know, what's her name? Because we do know that, what's her name in AEW that needs to be on TV more?
Jamie Hayter.
Yeah, we know that she's currently having visa issues. People are also saying maybe Julia's going on having a similar issue, but it could also be a thing where maybe she's hurt behind the scenes, and maybe they were able to pull this off, but they wanted to obviously take Julia out of there as of right now to make sure whatever she has going on with her, because we did talk about the reports of her potentially being injured, so they might want to look into that before they bring her back. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's a thing. That's one of the reasons why she had to have this match, so you could have somebody in the division that you care about, and somebody that's a big name, and somebody that she put over that people don't have any issues with. But I also feel like this could play into a bigger storyline down the road, where you potentially have her come back as a heel, where maybe you could play it off in a storyline where she has not got a win over Stephanie yet, and she might turn into that. I'm not sure if you've seen clips of Julia as a heel, but when Julia was a heel, she gets very vicious. She gets very violent. So you see those knee strikes she does. She does a good 4 to 5 of those in a row to really make you gush blood. Because I don't know if you guys ever saw her in a conference where she was just beating on somebody there during like a little Stardom thing that they were trying to do to promote an event. She was beating somebody up on stage. They were all bloody. So it could be one of those things where she might bring her in as a heel. Because I'm not saying I'm one of these people, but some people have noticed that maybe Stephanie Vaquer has a little more over when it comes to the cheers or importance in some way. I'm not saying I'm one of those people.
No, I heard those pops on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Like, the pops were way louder for Stephanie.
Yeah,
so they could easily play into that, and they can make her the top heel of that division, and that way she can get over that way. It's what's one of the best ways to get over, taking out the person who's the most popular. And she could easily pull an angle where she's beating the shit out of her, and this could be maybe their version of like a Ciampa and Johnny thing with these girls, where they could just tear each other apart. Because we don't really have some sort of angle like that. At least people that are very familiar with one another playing out on WWE right now. So that could easily be something that we're having going in the works.
Yeah, and hopefully that is something that's going on, because more of it, please, from everybody. But I mean, if there's nothing else to say, we could move on to our next and final little bit of stuff to do tonight, fellas.
All good.
Oh, perfect, because we've got a good old hot topic here tonight. Now, our hot topics are normally these bigger discussion pieces for the episodes where we dive deeper into a news piece, PLE, pay-per-view from a show outside of the main roster, or a topical discussion on the overall direction of a company, talent, or situation. Now, this week's, of course, if you've seen the thumbnail, is all to do with Kayfabe in 2025. Now, this stems from AEW Revolution, where they were doing some promotion for Queen of the Ring, a new movie that's come out, which I do want to go see. I need to see that, and I need to see this new Looney Tunes movie, just because I want to support animation. Oh yeah, dude, they finally released it. The day the Earth blew up or whatever. I heard it was really good. So yeah, if it's in your area, go see it. You know, support animation, all that stuff. But this came from a short little question interview thing that Tony Schiavone did for one of the actresses, where he asked her, "Hey, you know, what's one thing that you learned and took away from working on the movie?" And this woman's response, she basically said, "Yeah, you know, I learned that the wrestlers learn who's going to win before the match, before anybody else does. And they've tried their damnedest to do a PR like control over this. To try
they have? I didn't even see it.
Well, I mean, I say that, but it's more of just what's her name, Camille, going on to an interview and saying, "No, guys, this is what she meant. She meant that everybody wins and blah blah blah." Just like, you guys are trying to gaslight us to thinking she meant one thing when she actually sent another thing. Yeah, you know.
Look,
but,
I'll say this. Yeah, in simple words. If I was in the production team, I would have fucking cut her mic off once she started talking. And I'm sorry. I would be like, "Oh, we ran into some technical problems. Blame the production team." I'm okay that we look bad in the production side. That, hey, Cable got triple some shit. But I don't have literally a wrestling promotion. Literally, shoot yourself in the foot. Remember that meme where I think it's a Today Show or probably SNL type of skit where you shoot somebody and then they say like, "I wonder who shot him," and it's the person that shot him is saying that. That's literally AW literally shooting themselves in the chest. Literally like, "Yo, we're gonna expose ourselves live on air with no fucks, and we're having actress talk about the movie that's about wrestling, promoting the movie, talk about a promotion that we're on about wrestling, saying that we're all fake and we know who's gonna win before the match even starts." You know how much disrespect just saying that? I heard that and I felt like that hurt my soul. I'm not a wrestler. I'm only a commentator, a critic, and a fucking fan. And to hear that shit, I was like, bitch, with all due respect, why did you fuck yourself up?
I would have personally went over what she was going to say beforehand, because they tend to do that sometimes.
They do, like they're supposed to do.
Yeah, like
exactly, like the producer, like, "Hey, this is what you should promote."
Yeah, they should have like had a conversation of her earlier in the night, talking about, okay, what are you going to say once we have you in the spotlight? Because they're obviously advertising this movie because they have some of their girls in here. They could have easily had a conversation of her, talked about what she was going to say, then air this segment, because it really felt out of line where it was just on the cuff what she was going to say, because that's not good.
It's not.
Yeah, it's not. Like, it's not at all. But like, I think for me, it's just like, you know, out of everything you could have learned while working on a movie about wrestling, that's what you took out of the thing that's like no knowledge throughout the whole entire world. That, oh no, wrestling's predetermined. Oh,
it's like, it's like somebody telling me like, "Hey, when it comes to movies, if you find out that a bad guy Thanos has to lose because the heroes has to win somewhere or another, Thanos is gonna die." I'm like, "Oh shit, spoilers!" Like, nah, that's the way of storytelling. We can't have our villains just win every single time. He won the first round, but the second round he gotta die, and that's what happened. So like just being told about that to me fucks me up.
Yeah, but like, so here's the thing. Why this is kind of a topic, the hot topic for tonight. So as you heard, Vash kind of went off a little bit about the whole like kind of suspending your disbelief and how it kind of just ruins the moment as we're trying to experience a live show like this. So kayfabe in 2025. Now, the term kayfabe, and I looked this up online in the dictionary. Well, dictionary online, so whatever.
Yeah.
So the definition of kayfabe, the fact or convention of presenting staged performances as genuine or authentic. So this is again like saying, okay, what's a good example? Let's say somebody give me a movie real quick. Okay, Captain America, or no, excuse me, sorry, Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. It's like if outside of the movies Robert Downey Jr. continues to be Iron Man. Outside of the movies he continues to be Tony Stark. That's what kayfabe is. It's basically keeping that illusion, being like, oh, you were in the movie, you're Tony Stark, you're Iron Man, all that stuff. So that's
and the only time they do play the illusion is when they go to to do like a charity event, the Break-A-Wish Foundation, those type of.
But they don't break the illusion. They don't break it. That's what kayfabe is.
MJF,
you don't break that. Like back in the 80s, you couldn't ride in the car. Like if you were a face, you couldn't ride in the car with a heel. Like, and people got in trouble with that.
So one of the questions that we have in the document chat, I'm gonna break a bit of kayfabe. We have in the question: when did kayfabe and wrestling die for you? I'm gonna tell you, chat, when I remember it. It was when John Cena versus Sheamus was having their feud. I think back in 2010 or 2011 it was. I believe their strong feud for a good while, right? And then one Monday Night Raw or Friday Night SmackDown, there was a feud. They was going at it, smacking the shit out of each other. And then the night show ended, right? And then I think I was on some type of social media or something I saw on Facebook or somewhere on some type of social media app. I saw these two motherfuckers having a drink after the bar at fucking like after the show. Just it was just John Cena and Sheamus just smiling at the camera, just having a whole glass of beer. But weren't they fucking? Oh yeah, and that's what like I knew what I knew, but I just didn't want to remind myself all the time. And I don't know why, but just knowing that Sheamus and John Cena just had a good match like the night of, and then just knowing that I just saw the beer and them having, I'm like, like maybe if it was 2 days later, a week later, a month later, like, oh yeah, that's probably a month ago or 2 months ago, or a year ago. No, but just knowing it was a night of, that's for me when the idea of kayfabe broke for me.
Yeah. So honestly, for me, I'm not entirely sure. I think it's probably just stories I've heard over the years when it happened, almost like what happened at that live event with Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and all of them. Where
the curtain call?
Yeah, the curtain call, where you pretty much knew that these guys were heading to a different company, because I believe that was around the time where Scott Hall and them were heading over to WCW. So you already knew they were heading down a different direction. And you had faces against heel in that situation. But then after the match, you saw them all coming together, and that's what caught a lot of people off guard. You're like, holy shit, and these guys just both bust each other's heads open? Like, why are they being friends all of a sudden after the match that we had and the story that was being told a long time, like along with it? It's almost like you see like Drew McIntyre and CM Punk after that blood feud that they had last year. All of a sudden, you see pictures of them like sharing a muffin at Mindy's Bakery. Like you just see like shit like that happening. It doesn't make any sense in the slightest. So it's like that's probably what I would have to say over the years. Just stories I've heard. I can't remember the exact moment. But if you want to like bring up like kayfabe in today's standards when it comes to what that girl said in that interview,
well, we before we get into that part, because there are two big instances in in the industry where kayfabe actually kind of quote unquote died, which I did want to bring up before moving into like how it's changed in our own modern era. So back in 1989, Vince McMahon, one of his many lawsuits throughout his time of being alive on this earth, he was actually going against. Let me see, who was this again? It was the New Jersey state legislator. So he addressed the New Jersey state legislator in an attempt to get professional wrestling removed from the list of sports that the state athletic commission had overseen. So he was trying to. It was in that transition of getting pro wrestling away from the sports aspect into the sports entertainment thing, and they didn't like that at all. So he literally in court had to be like, "Hey, we're not a legitimate athletic contest. We're predetermined. We're a form of entertainment." So all the way back in the 90s, in the 80s already, kayfabe had to be broken because of legal matters. And the other one too, which funnily enough, in a way, kind of was a cause from the curtain call as well, where everybody's heard of the Montreal Screwjob. Everybody knows about the night that Vince McMahon, basically the Vince McMahon character, was born in a way because of what happened there. Because when Brett got screwed, he blamed it all on Vince. It was Vince left his job as a commentator at that point and became like the face of the company. And it's funny because like a couple weeks after that happened, he went on TV, live TV, and said, "Hey, everybody, this is a work. We're like putting on a show. This is sports entertainment, and we're moving on from this goody two-shoe good versus evil thing. We're going to be edgier and sexier and more violent." So like the man went on live TV and was just like, "Yeah, we're fake." Killed kayfabe for a lot of people, which is very interesting whenever this topic comes up, or like people start talking about how kayfabe's dead and all that, because like we've had like just these two big incidents in just the industry itself. And again, drop and mention the curtain call too. Like that's a third incident where like the industry was shaken up, being like, "Oh wait, this thing is dead," and all that. So it's very interesting looking into our modern era now with how kayfabe has changed, because I know one thing to cite with it is the social media aspect of it. But I know, Drop, you were sorry. I didn't mean to like insert everything, but it's just like, you know, this was leading into, I think, what you were trying to, you know, getting ready to start with like the media and how like kayfabe has kind of changed with everything because of our media consumption and because of like more people getting involved, whether they're actors, actresses, other sports athletes and all that, getting into pro wrestling.
Yeah, so like, yeah, because the whole point of like what recently happened in that AEW thing that really upset a lot of people is because even though the three of us know what happens behind the scenes, it's still nice not to bring it up just so we can see how it plays out on television. Because it's not like we're gonna come out on here and talk about, okay, we know why this is happening because of what so and so says. Like, we obviously just want to have the same rhythm when we're watching it. But it's like you saw recently with the girl saying something like that. It was really stupid. It upset a lot of people with that, and I saw a lot of the outrage. And it's not the fact that people were upset about it because they know why. It's the fact that it was said. It was put out there.
Yeah.
And you have like The Rock as a reason too. He's doing the same shit. Where you have The Rock come out on, you know, we see what The Rock's doing on television, how he's building up the Mania build with Cody when he came with John Cena turning heel. People are like, holy shit, we could really get into this. And the three of us came on here like, okay, we're on board with this feud now. We like where it's going. But then you have him come on the fucking press conference and he's saying all this shit. This is part of the story. This is how we do this. This is how we do that. This is the Final Boss character meeting Cody, doing this, doing that. It's like, we get that.
The
just
behind the
don't say
scenes
it.
thing.
Yeah, it's like, we get that. Just don't say it. There's no reason to say it at all. Like, I feel like he's probably one of the main people as of right now in the modern era that's like really breaking like kayfabe when it comes to being that person. Because, you know, Triple H is obviously the guy who's doing a lot of the things to give us what we see on television. You don't have Triple H coming out on there saying, okay, this is why Cody's doing this. This is why Seth's doing this. Like, he tries to play along with the story. Oh, what this could possibly mean for Cody. What would this... I remember when he talked about when Cody lost at WrestleMania, people asked him questions. This could be another page for the next chapter, seeing how things play out. He wasn't giving like extra details, really like put Cody out there and explain why so and so happened. Like, he actually tries to stay true with the product, but then The Rock comes out there and says some random stuff.
Yeah.
Then you have some people out there that actually stay true with what's going on when it comes to Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio, where you actually have them keeping the relationship in a kayfabe sort of way, where you even see them coming out together in the car. You see them doing things behind the scenes when it comes to TikTok videos or just hanging out with each other outside of wrestling, going to, certain events or whatever. It's like a music park, whatever the case may be, just to play that character to make it feel like, holy shit, even though we know Dom's married, people out there saying, oh, is him and Liv like really a thing? Just to play off that sort of spect of who they are in television. So if you want to look at a pro from that, there you go right there. And then you can look at Drew McIntyre too, which stays true to his roots when it comes to how he sees things. He says it how it is. He calls people out on their bullshit. Remember that thing he had with Busted Open where he just walked out? He was saying what was on his mind because he was so frustrated. And he's like, I don't give a fuck what you guys say. I just said it as it is. Drew McIntyre would have to really put out there by keeping things at that level. CM Punk's another one. Cody's another one. You don't see Cody out there saying a whole bunch of stuff either. So you have these people that are in the game that know how things work, but then you got people like The Rock coming out there saying a whole bunch of stuff. I don't care if I'm calling him out. I don't hate him, but he's another person that's doing that.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up Drew too, because it's like when you look at Drew, because like he does do charity work too outside of everything.
Yep.
But see, it's still within his character, because just like what you said, he's somebody that will speak the truth, and whether or not you like the truth or want to hear the truth, he's gonna give it to you. So it's just like, he's kind of a dick on TV, but it's like that Family Guy bit where it's just like, wow,
Roman.
That guy's kind of a jerk. Oh, well, that jerk just gave half his last paycheck to kids with diseases. So it's like, okay, you know what? Maybe you're not so bad. Maybe you're just, half a dick, It's never too late to not be a dick. That's the one thing I learned from Quantumania. Ugh. Horrible movie. But like that's just the thing. It's just like kayfabe nowadays. It's so much different now, because like you have all these media outlets and like just looking at social media. I mean, just today, I don't know if you guys saw Bianca and Rhea were going at each other.
Yeah, that's another thing.
On like social media is a really good tool to use to kind of keep kayfabe alive a little bit.
Yeah.
But to like still give us more of what's going on, because like,
and I love how Liv acts through all this. Hey, before you leave, can I get an apology? She's like, yes, I'm sorry. Damn.
Yes.
And to use the emoji like, damn girl, like, do I still gotta do this for you? I just love that they argue. And
justice for Liv.
Yeah.
The funny thing is that I bet you they're doing all this in tweets and then they're texting each other in the group text like, yo, that was good. Yeah, that was good. Okay, let's send another one. That shit was funny. Like,
yeah, Liv's definitely someone out there that really keeps it consistent. Even when she was feuding
she
with
does.
Rhea, she was saying a whole bunch of shit. So yeah, you got Liv, Bianca, Rhea's doing it. So that's really nice.
Another one with kayfabe that's still going on is Dom and Liv still acting like a couple off.
Yeah.
Like they just posted a picture on Twitter, them having like a damn fucking dino nugget. So it just shows that they're still acting like a couple on in kayfabe and everything. And even Dom spoke about it with his interview with Chris and everything, saying that like his wife is comfortable with it. He speaks to her. He communicates to her about all this going on. Before it happens or after it happens, he explains it and everything. So that just shows the communication and like the kayfabe, even with the storylines with like with couples in that aspect.
Grayson Waller too.
Oh my god, Grayson Waller joy on social media.
He enjoys
is
it
a joy.
with the fans as well. Like, come on, Austin, let's go.
Yeah,
We can't do this shit.
Even with Punk and Dominic, like this week on Instagram, going back and forth at each other.
Oh yeah, Austin and Dom, he said this little bitch or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking boomer. Oh my gosh. Yeah, man. It's just, yeah, we just live in a different era now with kayfabe, where it's like, yeah, we know that these are characters on screen. We can differentiate that. We could still have fun with it, though. You know, like, just don't be so serious like it was back then. It's fine. Trust me, it's fine. Like, yeah, it would break the illusion, you know, knowing, or actually no, more like seeing, like, just in recent memory, Kevin and Sami Owens, I almost said Sami Owens, Kevin and Sami Zayn, like, hanging out with each other afterwards. I mean, we kind of can put two and two together and be like, oh yeah, Kevin probably stayed with Sami and just walked outside to do that phone promo. But like, you could think that, you could assume that,
but we will never know.
See it happen. Yeah, exactly. We won't know because they were able to kind of hide that shit too. But like, we know enough of their own relationship that's like, yeah, that probably did happen. But the important part is we didn't see it.
Yes, and that to me is the important part when it comes to storyline, storytelling, and kayfabe being alive. That's to me the most important part of the aspect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But
when it comes,
anything else we have to say about kayfabe? Go ahead, Vash.
I was just gonna add with the last thoughts of kayfabe before we end our show is when it comes to WWE, I love how they're being more loose because, for example, 5 years ago with Vince, we would never seen LFG, or we would never seen probably Evolve. We'll probably see, but LFG no, because they're showing the behind the scenes curtain of how to tell promo, how to be good in the ring, how to show the faction aspect. So we never would have seen the build up of a character. Nowadays we will. So I'm okay with that, and I'm glad other wrestlers like Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, Paul Heyman, and other people like the big names are being part in interviews, and they're peeling a bit off the tape, telling a bit of the truth behind the curtain, and that's very appreciated as a fan, as somebody who works in the business, that works with actors and actresses, that sees a lot of things. Like, I have worked with Robert De Niro and everything, but I just don't talk about it because I also have signed NDA contracts and all those things. But when you talk and speak with these people, it helps it when you peel off a bit of the curtain, because the fans have all these fucking theories, rumors. It's good to just confirm these things to the audience and fans, so you're like, that's how it happens. That's it. You don't gotta add more details. It's like, for example, Logan Paul. He had some guests in one of his interviews this past week, and they spoke about the barbed wire in the chair, and he said, "Yo, that shit was real. Yep. I thought that shit hurt me. Like, just just pulling up the metal." So just knowing that Kevin and Sami did that shit, I give them props. And hearing that from Logan, can you believe him? Yeah. Can he be speaking about kayfabe and telling it's real? Could he? But at the end of the day, we will never know, and that's the best part of it. And I'm happy about that as a fan. Logan, speak your shit. That shit's real. All right, in my eyes, that shit was real. That metal piece, that shit hurt. Seeing Sami come be like, that shit looks real.
And hopefully somebody puts him through one of those too sometime.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man. But all right, well, I think we've exhausted a fun little convo about kayfabe, and I think we've exhausted a lot of talk about wrestling this week. A lot of stuff happened between news, between AEW, between NXT, so especially like NXT, like on Tuesday. And again, you guys are lucky we're not talking about Revolution, because we'd be here for another 4 hours.
Oh my god, yeah. We would have stretched that shit out a bit more, but hey, if you want more content involving AEW, or maybe doing sidecasts where we don't have to do a podcast for it, if you guys want sidecasts, me and Walkers could do that, but guess what? Maybe. We will know if you guys tell us and let us know. Yeah, Dynamite not. POEs will be fun. POs will be fun to do as a sidecast, but Dynamite and shit, nah, because it'll be more like boring and negative comments, and then me and Walker will be like, hey, let's just play the game that came out called 2K25 instead. But hey, it's been fun. AEW. If you want us to do PLE, I keep calling them PLEs for them. Pay-per-views. Let us know in the comment section down below because we would love to know some feedback.
Yep.
Yeah, feedback is great. So, and speaking of down below, you know what else is down below, especially in the description part? There's a bunch of links you can find, and those links will take you to many, many fun, wonderful, awesome, fantastical places. Mainly our social media accounts. You know, you have Drop This Box, you have me at Watkins MW, you have Vash at Legend of Vash, you have, of course, us at Weebs of the Ring, and you have the parent company of at AniMa W3 Studio on just about every social media platform that you could think of. You could check all those stuff out. There's also links to our channels as well. Go check them out for any solo content or other group content that we're doing with the company. Hey, that's always great to see, especially if you don't want to just hear us talk about wrestling. We talk about many different other things like video games, like animus, like mangas, and webtoons, all that wonderful fun stuff that makes us nerdy little people. But that's neither here nor there. Check all those out again in the description below. But I'm going to take time to thank you for listening to Grappling with the Week. Before we head out, as always, be sure to follow us on all those social media platforms. We are known as Weebs of the Ring on all those platforms. Be sure to also use the hashtag Weebs of the Ring to interact with us before, during, or after our shows. Feedback is always appreciated, as we are nothing without you tuning in. Grappling with the Week is presented by AniMa W3 Studio. Thanks to our production team for all of your hard work. Thank you for joining us, and a special shout out to you, Stu. Yeah, you're going through some hard times, buddy. I know it. I get it. I understand it. We all go through them. But hey, we here at Weaves the Ring will always honor, cherish, and love you for all the things that you do, even if a invisible man will not do the same when he comes back. But as always, people, we have been your Weaves of the Ring. We're going to thank you for joining us again. Have a good night, and we will see you tomorrow night for the SmackDown from Spain.
You guys.